Hey guys, we're live again, and this time this is not my drawing skills improving unconditionally. This is just a new device that we got here. It's called a camera, and you can see us in a lively way dancing around. And also you can see that we have something great for you this week, and this is something called a guest. It's called Oggy. Welcome to the show, Oggy.
Really? Thanks, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for coming.
And about the camera, you know, I feel kind of ripped off because when I signed up for this, you didn't say that there was going to be a camera, and the only reason I signed up was to get a cool drawing of myself. And
there you go, man. You don't see it now, but I'm showing it to the camera. The drawing is there. I sent it to Steph. He can probably show you now. Pull it up or something and show you. But yeah, I did a drawing.
I don't want to get depressed or something.
Yeah, I just did a drawing. No, it's very realistic. It's you know, it's really, it encompasses the essence of you. It's a special technique. It's called I think it's from French, caricature. I don't know how you pronounce it, but it's like exaggerate certain physical aspects, but metaphorically mean the best. That's, I think, the essence of it. But anyway, so
I like how when you said aspect, you emphasized on ass.
Yeah, no. It's just like
slip or something.
It's above the table we're talking. So anyway, guys, thank you for and of course thank you, Stefcho, for doing this, because we never mention you enough. So Stefcho, thanks, man.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah. So
what's
first of all, for the guests, let's Stefcho, enough about you. Enough is enough. You know, we mentioned you. Just chill. Let's talk about our guest for a second. Oggy, I can say so many nice things about you, but I won't, because I want to put you on the spot and ask you, what's so fucking damn important about you, Oggy? And basically describe yourself to our audience of 7 people.
There is nothing important about me. There's like zero important about me. Actually, being here, participating in this podcast makes me feel important.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, it feels like I'm going to be on TV for no apparent reason.
Right.
But it's not about importance. It's about who are we? Who are you? What the hell are you doing in my house? I mean,
this got very philosophical very fast.
Yeah. I mean, you let me in. Maybe you should explain why you let me in.
Yeah, I mean, you've been doing all kinds of stuff with all kinds of stuff.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, maybe, because let's put it into a reference. So you guys know each other, right? Not just because of me, or was it me? Was I the catalyst of this relationship starting, this fire burning?
It's just because of you.
Yeah, I think you were the catalyst, but we technically knew each other, but not practically.
We've seen each other.
Yeah, because, well, we were colleagues.
Yeah, in Telerik, where you also worked.
Yes,
if you remember.
I think while you were working there, we didn't like really communicate.
Yeah, I didn't communicate with anyone.
Yeah, because you were actually working, so that was the difference between my being there and you guys being there. But that was really the beginning. I remember this because you guys were both there working for this famous, successful company, and I was there, and I just remember that all these years that I spent there, probably the best moment is doing this podcast now, and I think it all paid off. You know, it just all paid off. And no, but let's explain to people what
Did he convince you? Did he convince you to join Telerik?
No, absolutely not. I didn't even know. I think until we met afterwards, right? I think
we weren't friends then.
Exactly.
I think we were enemies.
So I'll tell you what happened. Yeah. So we were very deadly enemies, mortal enemies at that point.
It's arch enemies.
Yeah. And so what happened was, you know, I learned about this company, by an unfortunate situation I was in. It's called having a girlfriend. So I learned about this thing, and I was like, okay, I guess I'll apply for it. And then many many measures of time later, I learned this that she was there.
I have an issue with the podcast. I don't know where to look. Should I look at the camera or the monitor?
Yeah, let's look. Listen, it's always important to establish eye contact with the audience. So you look at the camera and imagine all the fans, all the people cheering.
Okay.
and smile.
So what were you saying?
So I was saying I was there.
Let's just stay quiet and look at the camera.
It's very big. Anyway, whatever.
Yeah, let's freak people out.
That's nothing freaky. And I think I do this all the time. I learn in different books
No, it's
that I
weird
read.
because when I look at Oggy in the monitor, he's actually looking at the camera, not in me. It's
Exactly.
scary.
So you create this incredible paradox, this physical paradox.
Anyway, whatever. So you were actually working at a call center, I remember.
I was working at a call center.
I mean,
This was
you
my
had
first
a
job.
really
This
nice
was
career start.
yeah, it was great, and I was learning so much about stuff that I never needed, never will ever need again. So I mean, I was still in university, so that was in my bachelor's. I was in the call center, and then when I started my master's, I was like, listen, let's upgrade that bitch. And so I just decided to make that huge leap, that incredible move in my career that I will never ever regret, because you know how you learn even from the worst experience, and people in jail, they become better people, and I just finished the Gulag Archipelago, and sometimes when you're dying from starvation in the wilderness, in the taiga somewhere, cut out of the world, you learn stuff about yourself, and it's incredible. You learn your true potential, especially when you're surrounded by wild beasts. That is also something inspiring. But also at the same time, I met you guys there. I mean, not exactly. I met Oggy there, who's a really cool guy. So Oggy, man, you were working for this company, but you have so many interesting things going about you. Like you're can I say that you're a kind of developer in heart? Is that proper way to put it?
Yeah, I'm like the bulk of my career has been software development.
Yeah, listen, this is not an interview. You don't need to be so pretentious. The bulk of my career, which part of your career? I didn't specify. I didn't even use the word career. You just anyway. But yeah, you're a developer. So that means your brain works very differently than mine in the sense that it works. So it's very analytical. It solves problems. Am I right? Am I doing a nice job at analyzing you?
It's supposed to work that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we've mentioned him before. I mean, you've mentioned him before.
I did? When? What did I say?
Yeah, in the podcast. When you said who made the music.
Exactly right. And such a great segue. So, man, this week. Anyway, so yeah, so Oggy is the guy.
It's more interesting than the developer part.
No, it's all very interesting, and we need to establish the connection. So
I mean, I know I'm a developer. I know how interesting it is. So.
You're right. Well, at the end of the day, when you just spend 4 hours a day just staring at your bank account, it's pretty interesting. But what I'm saying is, Oggy was the guy who actually composed the song that we use for our intro and outro, and he was so nice to actually give us the permission to use it. And this is a song called Alpha One by his artistic name Orilux. So you guys can check it out if you go to the description. You can listen to the song. And there's another song on the album too, on the YouTube channel. So Oggy, how did you get into this?
Yeah, and how long have you been doing it?
You make it sound like it's such a big deal, like I've been signed up on some record label or something.
I was very surprised because the time that you spent doing that, I don't know.
I don't know, for me it's funny to hear that from you guys because you are what I would consider real musicians. I mean, they're like, we're surrounded by how many guitars here? And
we are
like
real music. I mean, it doesn't really get more real than this, man.
There's a proper guitar amp here that we kind of used to.
There's a guitar here. It's a proper one. It's
actually I have Boggy's guitar here also.
He's got two of mine, maybe even, or no, or just one. You didn't get the other one.
No, you didn't give me the other one. You just promised.
Yeah, and aside from Steph and his guitars, there's obviously Boggy and his. Was it flute that you were playing?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing that up.
So the thing is, you've never played anything. I mean, you don't have any.
No, when I was little, I played the piano.
So you had some music.
So if you played the piano, this should probably sound very familiar to listen to this amazing tune that I just wrote. I'm still working on it. It's still, work in progress, but it's getting somewhere.
Yeah, so that synthesizer you got really paid off.
Yeah. Listen, man. This is a very, flattering that we're sucking each other's dicks like this and just complimenting each other. But the point is this.
So let's get back on the topic. Like
Yeah, exactly. So
like, wow.
the topic is, how did you get into synth music? Why did you get into it? What the fuck were you thinking at this age to get into anything but a nice insurance policy? Why did you get into this?
What age?
What's the point?
What age?
And why is it so goddamn good? Because it's good, and you guys should check it out.
Yeah, I don't know if it's that good. I'm pretty critical of it myself, but I don't know why I got into it. It's weird because most of my life I've been listening to slightly different style of music.
What were you listening to?
Well, rock stuff, heavy stuff, especially when I was younger. The angry stuff that
What do you mean? Like what?
Well, like when I was a teenager, I listened to a lot of Guns N' Roses, and then
well, that's not that heavy, but yeah.
and well, then the whole grunge thing happened.
The dance is angry. If you remember, Axel's dance was pretty fucking angry, fucking angry all the time. It was pretty angry.
He's very angry.
He's an angry person. Then he got angry fat.
Actually, he can express it. There is a video where he jumps in the crowd and beats someone. So he's pretty expressive.
Okay, but the thing is what's interesting is, first of all, so for those of you who don't know synthwave, how would you describe synthwave? What is it?
Synthwave is, it's not just the music. It's like a whole culture about it, and I find that really fascinating. It's not, it's not just the sound. It's the imagery. It's the videos that a lot of people put up.
Right. So let's throw some names just so we can create this mental map. So we have stuff like Stranger Things, right? You would say that's part of the culture, right?
Yeah, so the Stranger Things series and its soundtrack are a pretty good example.
Yeah.
And it's like one important component is that it's all about the 80s.
Right. So this is music that's new music that people compose at the moment, but it sounds like, and it's performed on instruments like synthesizers that were around in the 80s. So it sounds like...
Remember the first band we discovered? I mean, I don't know, I think you sent me. The Gunship thing.
Yeah, Gunship.
This is pretty cool.
So that's the
Nice.
new album. Look at it. It's kind of 3D. Anyway.
That's pretty
But
cool.
yeah, this band is the shit.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
So yeah, I mean, there are a couple of bands. So for people who want to check it out, the Gunship is one of them. What else, Oggy? FM84.
FM84, The Midnight.
Midnight, yeah.
Petrorbatur is also pretty.
Yeah, Perturbator.
I've just read it. I've never pronounced.
Wasn't this part of a bong? Or no, that was Percolator. I'm sorry, I'm confusing things. Yeah, so these guys are a pretty decent musicians. They compose this stuff. They do this. They play it, and it sounds like it's from the 80s, and it's part of this culture. So that's like movies are coming out with music like this. There's a whole revival of the oldies
like
games.
2 days ago, the new Muse album came out.
Yeah,
and it's kind of in this
synthy. Really? Wow.
Yeah, there is some speculation in the synthwave communities that this is going to become mainstream at some point.
It's already pretty mainstream.
Well, no,
I mean, this Stranger Things.
Yeah, I mean, Stranger Things is huge. I mean, if it gets to that.
Actually, what they're saying is that the major record labels are going to pick it up as because the stuff that they're putting out right now is going to get old at some point. And they will always look for something new to throw out there.
I mean, the fact that Muse made one, I mean, Muse is one of the biggest.
That's pretty cool. But people are afraid
already really mainstream.
That what might happen is that they're going to start putting synthwave with like Drake vocals or something.
Right.
It's going to be horrible.
Yeah, that any kind of fucking lumpen would get on that and jump on the train.
Yeah. Yeah,
but it's interesting. What was the first thing that you remember that was like sort of synth wavy, and you were like, "Oh, that's interesting." What was do you remember like the first thing you ever heard?
Yeah, so there's also a very important movie in the synthwave community. It's called Drive.
I was gonna say that. Yeah, that was for me.
Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, with Ryan Gosling. Yeah. The entire soundtrack is synthwave.
Exactly.
And it's before it even became popular.
Yeah, who was that DJ? The French DJ?
Kavinsky.
Yeah. Protovision. There was another song there. Yeah, I love that movie. I remember I was in London when it came out, and I watched it, and I was like, there was this. I mean, even the main songs in the soundtrack were like. Real Hero was this song, and there was some other songs. They're pretty decent songs, and they got really popular. And it still took a while before it kind of caught up, and other people started doing it. And it was kind of an evolution, I think. I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong. From like electronic music. So maybe like someone who was doing electronic music, like Daft Punk or these kind of bands like M83, they sort of started researching the history of that and came back to sometime in the 80s. I don't know if that makes sense or not, but because I remember the last album, was it the last album of Daft Punk where they made a tribute to this, who was it? This German DJ guy. He was even in the track, he was talking about the electronic music in the 80s. They made a spoof of him on the Lords of Synth in Adult Swim. You gotta check. I mean, you've probably seen it, but whoever hasn't. You remember that sketch, right? There was a guy named Zoroger. So the Zoroger guy was based on the real guy, who I forgot his name, but sounds something like Zoroger.
Oh, yeah, I also forgot, but wasn't he had a concert in Bulgaria recently, or it's some other? Anyway, whatever.
Oh, I think you're thinking of Kraftwerk.
No, before that.
I don't know.
What was the name? Yeah. Anyway.
So yeah, I mean,
there was a lot of synth music in the 80s to the point where everybody got sick of it.
Right. I mean, it was more popular back then, so it sounded like the popular shit now, I guess, to the people.
Yeah. Basically, yeah.
And like you said, so probably it was the oversaturation with it, because it was everywhere. It was in the games, in every kind of stupid TV movie or DVDs. Oh, and there was no DVDs, but like VHS, straight to VHS movies or some shit. Everyone had a song, some music that sounded like that. But now it's almost romantic.
It's very cyclical in the music industry, because the same thing happened, I guess, in the 60s, and so I've heard, that electric guitars became cheap at some point.
Right.
So everybody was able to get their hands on an electric guitar, and then it was all rock music.
And then somewhere around the time where we got into them, they got expensive again, so that we can get screwed. But so Stef's collection is like he can sell it and buy 3 houses somewhere in the village. But
but the same thing happened with synths, because in the 70s they came out in the 70s, analog synths, and they cost a fortune. It cost more than a car.
Right.
So there were only a few artists that were doing that, like Jean-Michel Jarre.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. It's not this guy.
Yeah.
It's not this guy in Daft Punk.
Yeah.
So
it's something about the French, I think. The French were pretty advanced. I mean, in Europe, at least in regards to that sort of stuff. And the club scene there was like earlier than anywhere else. So they kind of, they could not just do it, but they had a place to kind of play it, in front of people and test it. So that was important, I guess.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it's there's another 80s synth band that I really like, and it's Enigma. And the story behind it is pretty interesting, because the guy...
Is it Synthwave? Like...
Well, I wouldn't call it Synthwave.
But it's legit 80s, or is it a new band?
Yeah, because I remember them. They were kind of like chill music.
Yeah, I mean, they have a couple of hits that are very, very famous.
But they were pretty big, like there were people listening.
And it's just one guy. It's just one producer guy who's Romanian, and he ran away from Romania during socialist times, and he ended up in France. And that's when he started making that kind of music.
Right. So maybe we should run finally. I mean,
fucking hell. We should all go to France.
We should go to France. Goddammit! Just get some of that wine. We're already used to cheese, so that's fine. So just get the wine and just go to the clubs and start doing our shit. So Oggy, how do you do your stuff? What's your gear? What do you use? What kind of equipment do you use to get this thing working?
Well, the cool thing is that YouTube is full of like tutorials on how to do it.
But where did you start? Like, what was your starting point? You just wrote how to create. Did
you start with a list? Did you take a paper and was like, okay, part 1, make a sound?
I watched a tutorial on how to do a basic synthwave track, and I just watched it out of curiosity. And halfway through it, I thought, maybe I could do that. So I got the software.
Must have been a pretty sucky video. Imagine someone watching just like 99% of my videos and go, I can fucking do that. That's stupid. That's retarded. But that's true. I mean, in the Synthwave.
But what did you do exactly? Because I mean, I've seen a lot of like beat makers that make beats. They kind of insert like some beat like there are a lot of stuff that are already there in the software. So just insert stuff that maybe tweak something here and there, add some sound here and there. But
No, we.
or you just started from scratch and just added each beat.
Yeah, the stuff that I made, everything is pretty much from scratch, and what you use there is virtual synthesizers. So.
So you don't actually
right
need
now-
a physical device, or you don't have any.
You don't.
Mhm.
So the cool.
Yeah, you never do, but it's easier actually if you do have one.
But they're really expensive because what you need is really the original one, like the analog synth from the 80s, and they're not being manufactured anymore.
Right.
So you can
What's
get-
Boggis? What's your synth?
Oh, this
The
is
one
some
you got?
shitty Yamaha thing. It's not even a.
Well,
like
what's
it's
the
a
difference?
normal
What's-
keyboard. Well, I don't know. Maybe
So
Oggy knows. I mean, I know that there are a couple of
Yeah,
different
I'm
things.
asking him. Yeah.
The difference is that yours is digital, so
Right.
it it's
That's
not,
the
the
meanest
sound is
thing
not
anyone has
as
ever
perfect.
told me. If you were in this room, I would cry in
Oh,
front
okay,
of you.
what's
right
the
now.
name? Yeah, I think someone was explaining this, that they had a different name. Like one was called this, the other one was called this, and they were like, what's the expensive one called?
Analog is what you're looking
no,
for.
it wasn't the word analog, something else. Well, whatever.
I don't know, but when you have a quality analog synth, it makes just this really perfect sound.
That's something very interesting. I was always with the guitars is the same thing because you have analog effects and you have digital effects, and it's very interesting because it's all electric, right? I mean, it's all like an interpretation of the sound waves.
No, not really. No, not really. One is like 0 and 1s. That's digital.
Right.
Yeah, one is simulated, the other one is real.
It's like one is
Exactly.
contiguous, the other is.
But it's also just like I don't know because we had this conversation many times with Stefcho and he told me that, and I believe him because he's more into that hardware part of the stuff that nowadays we're pretty much at the level where you can't, even like a really good pro musician cannot distinguish the difference between a simulated effect of a guitar and the actual analog effect that it was based on. So I don't know if this is the same. I mean, I guess it's probably the same with the synth music,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Is it?
But I mean, they still can. I mean, yeah, they can't distinguish it like playing it right away, but when they record, they still prefer the.
Right.
You know why they really can't distinguish it is because you're listening to a digital file anyway.
Yeah,
You're
so it's
listening
compressed
probably to
anyway.
an MP3 file.
Right.
So it's made digital.
Well, not me. I'm listening to vinyls now.
Well,
Yeah, but
no,
you-
I mean, yeah.
But really, can you really tell the difference? Even if you're listening to a vinyl, you hear a bunch of like additional noise, like.
I think I kind of. No, this kind of. Nice.
And also, it's a kind of endless conversation because then it depends how you record it, right? Because you got to record it in a special
I
way.
kind of hear the difference. Actually, I hear the difference. I think in the drums, like the low end or whatever. It's kind of.
Right.
I kind of feel more dynamics there.
Yeah, it makes sense.
you know why? And this in the beginning, I thought that listening to vinyl is just a hipster kind
I
of
think
thing.
it also depends how the vinyl is recorded because they can record a shitty vinyl that has no dynamics and nothing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So it's kind of
that's a good point. That's what I wanted to talk about. It's the mastering process, and quality records right now are getting mastered well with a lot of dynamic range. But stuff that you get on the internet and like files that MP3s, they are usually mastered horribly because of something that I found out in the process of learning about Synthwave. Something that's called the loudness wars. And the loudness wars happened in the last 10 years in the music industry because record companies noticed that people were listening to individual songs in some kind of a playlist with other songs. So if somebody makes their song louder, theirs sticks out and it gives the listener the impression that it's better.
Yeah.
So now
That's like the
everybody's
ads on
racing
TV.
to make-
There was the same thing with ads on TV some time ago, and they had to legally restrict the ads to play louder than the movie because they would literally wake you up in the middle of the night. You fall asleep during watching a movie. And
No, what do you mean? They have this now on YouTube too. Like the YouTube ads fucking destroy my TV. Like I play some video and like the ad comes up and like poof, everything explodes.
Yeah.
They do the same shit now.
So now they remastered everything that was already released. There's even like if you look at the article on Wikipedia about the loudness wars, you will see an example of an ABBA song, which in the 70s was released, and you can see the wave. There is a lot of amplitude in the waveform.
Yeah.
And then they re-released it in 2010, and it's completely flat because
it's all a black fucking mess.
They applied this.
Okay, but
they
the thing is,
applied
what does-
sound compression to make it sound a lot louder.
it doesn't just sound louder, but is it louder? I mean, it's kind of made kind of a compression.
Yeah, because it lifts the
because
lower
the way they make it-
waves, but kind of suppresses the bigger waves, right? So the lower are higher, but the bigger cannot get possibly higher. So it kind of you lose quality.
The compression process squeezes the louder parts,
Right.
and it makes it like as quiet as the quietest ones,
Yeah.
and then it
raises the quiet
increases the
ones.
volume on everything,
Oh.
and that removes any depth and any contrast that
Right.
you might have in a song. So something.
But this is really weird because music is about all the dynamics. I mean, the dynamics kind of makes you feel that stuff.
Exactly.
So why
I mean,
would
if you
people
have something
prefer-
quiet, it kind of feels like it's far away, and you know. It
But
makes
it's
the
not
point.
about just quiet. It's about having this also, like quiet parts and loud. I mean, the dynamic range, right?
Exactly.
But
yeah.
why would people prefer the loudness? It makes no sense.
People don't prefer that.
No, it's just a marketing move. It's just
It's just you get the impression that that a song is better if it was played right after a quieter song.
Yeah.
And that was not a problem back in the day because you would get an album that is mastered the same way, and you would play all the songs on it, and it's not like you have to change the volume up and down.
Right.
But once it all went in digital and people were using iPods and they put together playlists, it varies a lot, the volume, and people don't want to keep adjusting it. So everybody started boosting it up to stand out.
yeah.
Because if you have to turn something up because the previous one was louder, your brain makes that association that the thing you have to turn up is bad. Because the other one was better. I didn't have to turn it up.
Yeah, it's a psychological trick. But so to get back to the topic of like distinguishing between the real deal and the the simulated one, with the getting back to the topic of simulations from our last episode. But what I guess the only difference would be the actual skill of the musician. If you can perform on an instrument that has so many nuances that it'll be too hard to maybe replicate them. You know what I mean? Like for example, if you have a piano or a synth kind of organ, it wouldn't make a difference. But if let's say we're talking about a flute, because I have this thingy here, the Yamaha, and it has all kinds of instruments, right? So you can play a flute on the piano. It doesn't sound anything like the flute, right? Because when you play the flute, it's a very philosophical process. It's an extension of your body, right? I mean, your whole you're breathing into it, so your breath determines everything: the dynamic range, the strength, the length of it, the vibrato. Everything is determined, and so you can make different kinds of sounds of different even types of vibrato depending on whether you use your lips or whether you use your throat or your stomach for it, your stomach muscles for it. So you cannot make all of that nuanced decisions on in a digital way, or it would be too hard to do that, right? So the easier way would just to pick up the flute and play it and someone records it. So I guess that would be the only kind of distinction, is that additional skill of the artist who performs it.
Yeah, well, it's easier if you know how to play the flute well. If you don't, then
then it doesn't make a difference, right?
Computer, then it's a better choice to do it digitally.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yes, you're kind of more connected.
I guess I was looking for a reason to bring the flute
but
back.
That's not a problem of the analog and the digital. It's because it's more connected to your body. I mean, they can make a digital flute maybe.
They do have one.
Yes.
Oh, you sent me this one, Oggy. Didn't you send me this one? Or
Yeah.
Actually,
initially, I thought it was some kind of a kid's toy, but turns out not. Really.
This was legit, man.
People using it in concerts.
Stepcho, I think I sent it to you,
it's
but you
expensive.
probably ignored it because you were probably just doing some swing moves or something. But it was a digital device that you put in your mouth for some reason, and you power it with the will of sucking, and then you just sound great, man. It's just fucking synth heaven and all that. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, there are two brands that are being used by professional musicians. I think one of them was Akai and the other one was Roland.
Yeah, kind of. Both of them are
pretty big with synths.
pretty big. Yeah, both of them are big with
Roland
keyboards.
They also make drums. They're the best drums, like the electronic drums.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's so now you have these two songs and you're kind of learning and you're still developing the craft and everything. So what's like? Do you have a goal? Do you want to accomplish something? Do you want to make an album?
The thing is, you started like.
Or is it just for pussy?
When did you start?
I started this year.
Yeah, so what the fuck, 1 year, less than a year.
Yeah, certainly less than a year. So I mean, it takes time, but it's a fun hobby. That's how I look at it. It's like, you know, it's like you guys play
Of course.
instruments
No, of course.
well and
That's
you
the
play.
right way. Yeah.
Listen, no
You
need
have-
to throw punches here. No need to diminish our efforts. And
No, I was gonna bring up the soft boys.
Yeah.
And I was gonna say, you know, you have this opportunity to play good music and, you know, get people to listen to it. And doing synthwave and putting it up on YouTube or SoundCloud is kind of the analog of that
Yeah.
for digital musicians, I guess.
No, it's
But-
cool, man. I mean, I'm very happy. I was surprised that you started doing that, but I'm super happy. And the other thing you do musically, if we're still on that topic, is you also occasionally engage in disc jockeying. I don't know if they still call it this way, but because I'm not an expert. But you go there and you scratch those plates or whatever you call it, and you go and the girls
I
are
was
throwing their
scratching.
t-shirts out and all that stuff. And there's usually other people from Telerik. For some goddamn reason, you can't get rid of them. They're at every event, and you do this, and the crowds are gathering, and they're loving you, and they're throwing money, and they say, "Play this song, play this, play, you know, Biała Rosa, play this," and so you do all these things,
Biała Rosa. What the fuck is this?
and you become famous.
Actually, the first time I DJ'd, like, for people like that are not my friends, and I was so nervous that you know, this girl came up to ask for a song or something. She had a request, and I was so nervous that I said, like, no.
Yeah, fuck
She
yeah.
got freaked out and she left.
This is a very manly display of power, of DJ power. You can
Yeah,
turn
it was
people
horrible.
down like this. Okay, so but is this related to the synth stuff, or is it like just a separate branch of your creativity?
Yeah, I would say this is different because it's different style of music that I play when I DJ, but I've only done it like 3 times. So also I don't want people to get the impression that, you know, I'm some.
So how did you get started with that?
How did I what?
How did you decide to do the DJing stuff?
Well, you know, we have that mutual friend,
Yes.
Greg, who's been doing that for a while, and he's
And-
really good.
And he's never
He's
turned a
doing it
girl
professionally.
down. That's the thing about Greg.
No, he hasn't. He'll play, like, for a girl, he would even play Nickelback.
Yeah, there'll be one girl in the
Greg.
fucking place, and
That was
he'll start
Greg.
singing. He'll be like, "Fuck that," and he'll
Isn't
just
he
give her one of the
Grisha?
plates.
Yeah.
Grisha, right?
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been hanging out with him, and I've been watching him DJ at some clubs, and, you know, I
Yeah,
figured, let me give it a shot. Let's see what's gonna happen.
right.
So it's a hobby. It's fun, but you know, the first time I played something and I saw people stand up and dance, that was when I was hooked.
Wow.
I was-
But the thing is, what do you exactly do? I mean,
Exactly. I was
because,
going to ask.
Being DJ, like anyone can like play some of the things. You have to play like kind of.
It has to make
transition
sense, right?
well or something.
Exactly. You have to know what to play next.
Right.
This is the most important
Like to match
thing.
tempos.
So my question would be, I
Oh,
guess, at which point can you safely start playing? I don't know, my TED talk. Like, at which point you can transition to a Soft Boys video? That's my question.
During sound check, maybe.
Chisk. By the way, I'm trying to get promoted by this brand of Maltese beer called Chisk. So I'm just gonna mention them all the time until they
Yeah, you
ping
can
me.
make a commercial about them without.
Yeah, by the way, I gotta tell you, I gotta make a commercial, but Oggy, while you're thinking about what I ask you, at which point you can play Soft Boys songs, I want to say this, guys. Yeah, Chisk is the greatest. Listen to this. Chisk. It's for alcoholics who don't have a choice. Sometimes you have a choice, Chisk or no Chisk, but when you're an alcoholic, it's no choice, man. It's suffering or this beautiful pint, this delicious drink of God's. Look at this. Just hear this. It's delicious. That's what the gods were drinking, I guess. And it also makes you piss. So if you have some stones, you can piss them out faster. If you drink a lot of that. Okay, enough of that. I mean, they know me already. They know me. I'm a big deal in Malta.
It really improves your piano skills.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Actually, I don't
That's
even
very
need to use my hands. It's so amazing. So anyway, so let's get back to the question, Oggy. At which point is it legally possible to play a soft boy song in your set? And what kind of music in general do you play?
But we don't have songs. What do you mean?
Yeah, well, that's irrelevant for the moment.
Well, we're working on it. We'll have a song.
Well, like if a really hot girl comes over and requests it,
Yeah.
then I think it's pretty fair to play it.
Okay, so but that was actually an interesting thing because I asked you if you played your own songs in the set, and you said no. And I was like, why? I mean, this is like, if I made a song, I would play it. You know, no other reason to even make it. If I had a chance to play it in front of people, I would.
Yeah, I think it's playable.
I
No
don't
one will notice
play it
something
because I
else.
want people to like me. So,
No, come on. I mean, even if you're doing, I mean, first of all, what kind of music are you doing on these events? That it's so impossible to play a synth song there.
well, it's mostly, reggae and funk and hip hop kind of music.
Okay, now time to leave and set up the next episode. No, okay. But yeah, I mean, even with that crap, you can still put a synth there and, just crack it up a little. Just like blow people's minds.
You have to know your audience.
Yeah.
And, you shouldn't play stuff that they wouldn't like.
Right.
So
Exactly.
maybe someday,
Maybe.
if I'm playing for some people who like Synthwave, maybe I'll play it.
For sure, man.
But at the end of the night.
But it's nice to test, like, to see how people react.
Yeah.
You can
Yeah.
just
By the end, yeah,
test
by the
it.
end of the night, or when you're safe, you're like leaving in the car and you just like turn up the volume in the car. See you guys, and like super slowly drive off
Exactly.
into the sunset, and like they can hear it. But yeah, so I'm interested to, because listen, man, you are, like we said at the beginning, you kind of have this developer mindset, developer talent, if you will, and you used it not only in your career, but also in other really interesting endeavors. For example, when I was thinking about this podcast, it was like, what kind of stuff can we talk about? And I remembered suddenly that there was this app that you once developed called Sleepcast. And that was a pretty cool thing. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
And people, I think, I checked it out and there was like a bunch of new downloads and stuff. Like it's still getting downloaded and stuff.
Yeah, there are a bunch of people that use it. Not a lot. But,
Right.
they're...
Like I don't use it anymore.
It's,
I don't think I ever used it. I downloaded it and I wrote a review, but that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what is Sleepcast? Tell us about it.
It's just an alarm clock app that can wake you up with music, and the interesting thing is that it can play it through wireless speakers. So, yeah, that one.
First of all, you're never going to sell any of the
Yes,
Sleepcast
yes,
app
10
without a good
10,000
ad.
Downloads.
Okay, so check.
It has 10,000 downloads. That's a lot.
10,000
So
downloads
you,
already?
I mean, at least that's the
This is amazing, man.
achievement. It's
it
much
has
more.
20,000.
20,000?
Yeah.
This deserves another ad. Guys, if you're the kind of douchebag who downloads only apps that have been downloaded for more than 20,000 times, why not use Sleepcast, you douchebag? It's a special alarm thing that you install on your device. You can use it to wake you up, I guess. Or the other thing is, it plays on different devices. How about that? No one ever thought about that. Why set up a special separate alarm on your fridge? No, now with just one place, you can turn your fridge into an alarm, right? Am I right? So you can also turn your car into an alarm, break a window. No, don't be stupid. Just install Sleepcast. I think it was
By the way,
technically correct what
I'm
I said,
reading-
right?
I'm reading a review and it's pretty funny. Like, one guy said, when he gave 1 star out of 5, he's like, I connected it to my wired speakers, yet my alarm played on both my speakers and my phone, and this ruined my morning.
Fucking idiot ruined his morning by waking up just like he planned.
No, because it didn't play just to the speakers, but it played on the phone and the speakers.
Wait a second,
So
let
this
me
ruined his morning.
I'll experiment something. I'll try to record my screen and open up the sleepcast.me. Check this out. This is a website. The alarm app that plays music on Bluetooth. We're going to sell the shit out of it, man. It was 20,000 yesterday. Now it's going to be 20,003. So check this out. The alarm app that plays music on Bluetooth, wireless, and DLNA. Whatever the fuck that is. That's something from 2009, I think. What is
No, those
DLNA?
are pretty funny.
It's... I don't know what it stands for exactly.
So why
but
did you
it's
put
that
it on the
standard.
website, man? It's on the front of the website. You put DLNA. Okay, so let's
Because
remove the
people want to
DNA.
know.
DNA is better. So for marketing reasons, because people recognize it. So let's remove the L.
Wow, what is
DNA speakers. That's when you're.
What is DNA?
DNA is like the code of like your genetic code, which.
Yeah, but what does it mean?
Well, it means something acid at the end. It's in speakers. Well, let's focus on the speakers, all right? Let's.
Yeah, still, but you know what it is without knowing. Maybe Oggy knows without knowing.
Yeah, Oggy, do you know without knowing? It was on The Guardian. It was featured on The Guardian and on Better Bound and Better List. And by the way, why is Better List such a small, tiny?
What was featured? The app?
Yeah, on The Guardian.
Really? Oh wow.
Yeah, and it uses.
Yeah, that's really like a printed newspaper is the best place to advertise mobile apps.
Of course, man. And podcasts who no one watches is the second best place.
Yeah, we should get featured there too. I mean, but what does featured mean? Like,
but why is it only available on Google Play?
So
you never made it for iPhones?
No, it's because the iOS operating system doesn't allow.
Fuck these motherfuckers.
That don't use a ringtone.
What?
That's what it was. Well, because
what do you mean don't use a ringtone? What do you use? Ah, from the default ringtone.
To play music and
from
stuff.
the default ringtone.
Yeah,
fucking crazy.
I think you can only create a custom alarm that sends a notification or something like that. And their excuse is that way they protect the user's battery.
All right, check this out. I'm going to read my review, and I gave 5 stars on April 25th, 2016. This is when I download the app, and I wrote this. It saved my life. I'm definitely not going to sleep through another car crash with this app. I must have thought about it for, I don't know, 30 seconds before I wrote it.
Oh yeah, actually that's the real story.
Yeah, you had an incident, didn't you?
Oh, I did. Was it really that I didn't joke? It's just such a...
Yeah.
Yeah, I had an accident around that time, maybe. Yeah, I don't think I've ever mentioned that. Yeah, so what happened was I was...
You want to talk about it?
Yeah, let's talk about it. And let's make a segment about it, actually. And let's call it...
Make a commercial.
Yeah, let's make a commercial. All right. Hey, guys. This is Boggy from a former survivor of a car crash. Guys, sometimes you're in a car and before you know it, you're asleep. What do? Well, you can't always wake up because sometimes you see a hot chick sucking on your cock in the middle of the sleep. And listen, man, when you wake up in the hospital, it was worth it. Just remember, never drive on a street with other people where they can die while you're having your dick sucked. No, what the fuck am I talking about? Let me say the real story. So what happened was I was driving my mom back to Poland, and she was sick, so we were taking her to the hospital there to treat her cancer. And so it was me, my dad, my mom, and my aunt, and we were in this. We got this. What do you call it in English? Minivan, I guess. And it was a bigger car. It's a car for multiple people. And I was driving like for maybe 18 hours at this point straight. I was pretty tired, and it was around 5 in the morning, and I was sleepy, and the sun was just coming up, and the music was down because everyone was sleeping in the car, and it was the heat was on, and I just fell asleep for a second, and I woke up in the middle of the field. So I had driven across the other lane and across the street and down into a field, and nothing happened, and the car was fine and everyone was fine. But it could have been very bad because the region, it was in Slovakia where it happened, and it was like there were a bunch of lakes around, so I could have like at least been in a lake or crash into another car or who knows what. But it's all good, man, because listen, because when bad things happen, sometimes people survive.
Did you say Czechoslovakia?
No, I said Slovakia. But yeah, sure.
There is no Czechoslovakia.
Don't quote me on that.
Czech.
No, I was wondering if this happened in like 87.
Oh.
Yeah. So man, so we talked about Sleepcast. Yeah.
So between the two of you, Bogey drove a van off the road, and your car is in Greece and it's all.
Yeah, they repair it now. I mean, yeah, I mentioned they destroyed it while I had it parked.
Also, it wasn't your fault.
No, I just went.
Yeah, that's the surprising part. Stefchu moved. He really made a tremendous leap. Like it was a small step for a car crash, but it was a huge leap for Stefchu because for the first time he gets his car crashed and it wasn't his fault. So that deserves a applause. He's moving up the ladder. Okay,
I
but
haven't crashed it before. What do you mean?
So when are you getting it back?
They're repairing it now. Maybe next week. I don't know.
They are repairing it in Greece.
yeah.
It's fucked up. Like our laws are different. I mean, not different, but the insurances are different. The way they work, kind of. We have like 2 of them. I think they have only one, which covers everything.
Yeah.
I see.
So I had a hard time explaining that I don't have this insurance. That I have only this civic liability.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't really need the other one, but whatever. That's weird shit. Anyway, so yeah, what to talk about the app? Yeah.
Yeah, the app. We talked about the app. Is there something else about the app? First of all, how rich did you get from that app alone? Like all the other richness aside, all the synthwave glory and the DJing stuff and all that stuff. But how much money did you make from those? Can you tell us from 20,000 downloads?
Actually, the richness that came from that app was in the form of a valuable lesson. And that lesson was
Such a political
you cannot
answer.
Get rich with the mobile app.
Such a great
but,
answer.
I mean, you had ads in it. Like,
Yeah, I have ads, but
and it's still nothing. I mean, of course, like for this kind of amount, it won't be much, whatever it is. I mean, you have to get to millions to start.
exactly. Yeah. So,
Right.
But still, it's probably something.
it was not worth it. It
Yeah.
was really not worth it.
But it's a start. I mean, you stopped developing it, or I mean,
Yeah, we haven't made any improvements to it, and
it's not growing.
You gotta fix those DLNA stuff.
It's not just me who developed it. I have to mention that. I did it with.
You don't have to.
Another guy who works with me.
You don't have to.
So, I don't have to.
We have to create.
cut it
We
out
can
if you-
create this version of reality, which whatever we want to create. Okay. I'm sorry. So, what was the name of the guy?
Alan.
Alan. Okay. So, Alan, applause for you, man. Alan, who
There you
also
go.
co-created the Sleepcast app. And I also remember there was another thing. I don't know if Alan was involved or not, but I remember this. I don't know if you want to talk about it, but you had an idea, and not just an idea, but you actually created like a prototype thing for an app, or I don't know, software that can be used in the fucking movie business industry in making fucking Hollywood blockbuster movies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
And,
But
and
it's
did you
an
even
app
have a
that
name for it?
generates-
Was
Yeah,
there a
but
name
focus
for this
group.
project?
No, but there is more story to it. It's just not just an app.
Right, exactly.
No, it was
How did it get to?
that never turned into a product. It was just.
But you must have had a name for it. Let's make a code name for it. What's the name of it?
We didn't have a name for it.
No, but how did it happen? Like they were shooting a movie in.
Yeah. So I got a little involved in a movie that was done.
I mean, it was like some Hollywood production, like some big one.
Yeah.
Who was the main actor? Or some famous?
It was Toby Kebbell. He was in Rock and Roller.
We have booked him for the 700 episode.
Yeah.
It's not just that. He was in that fucking disaster of a movie, Ben-Hur remake, and he was in one of the episodes of Black Mirror, I remember. One of the first season episodes. If you remember, there was an episode where they you can rewind your memories. So he was playing a guy there. He was the guy who rewinded his memories to the point where he proved that his wife cheated on him. Right? That was Toby, the Toby guy.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know.
No, that's him for
Did you name your dog after him?
Yes, I named it after him exactly. Because once you told me this story, I was like, I gotta name it after this guy. And so this guy was in Bulgaria shooting a movie, and a bunch of other guys, a bunch of other famous actors and chicks.
Actually,
Yep.
the most famous person who was associated with that movie was the director. His name is Rob Cohen. He is the guy who did
The
the
Coen
first.
Coen brothers? Or?
No, he's not one of the Coen
He's a
brothers. Everybody
Coen
thinks
cousin.
that way. But he's famous for doing the first Fast and the Furious.
Wow. Okay. For the first one, that's the the best
Yeah.
one, I guess.
Yeah, he started it all. Yeah.
Wow. So anyway, sorry, I was speechless for a second for Rob Cohen. But so this guy,
So what happened there? Like.
So this guy, a
what
bunch
were
of
you doing there
famous
exactly?
people came to Bulgaria and was like, listen, man, you're going to do something really fucking big here. This is going to be Fast and the Furious, but better, because instead of Fast, it's going to be a heist, and instead of Furious, it's going to be a tornado, right? What was it? Tornado heist? No, Hurricane heist, right? That was the name of the movie?
Hurricane Heist, yeah.
Right,
That was
so...
the name of it.
Oh, it's out already, right?
Yeah, nobody knew. But
Right. So this movie was shot in Bulgaria, came out, and you were involved in it. How?
Yeah, so they had some computer hacking scenes in the movie, and usually when they do stuff like that in Hollywood, they do it in post-production. So they shoot the computers with green screens, and then they add the you know, the stuff that comes up on the screen later.
Right.
But in this one, the director, I guess he wanted to do it in real time, so it looks more realistic. So they hired me to help them out with.
But how did they find you exactly? Why didn't they hire me?
Yeah.
Why
wasn't I called? I could have done something real time. I don't know. Play the guitar real time.
Play some commercial.
You know, if they knew about you, they probably wouldn't have hired Toby Kebbell.
God damn it. Fucking Toby, man. I'm unbooking him. Right now, I'm unbooking him.
You have to change your agent. That's the thing.
Yeah. Anyway, so what happened? So how did you get... Who did you know exactly? Whose dick did you have to suck to get there?
A friend of mine recommended me to these guys who were doing, I guess, the special effects for the movie. And they got in touch.
Okay.
And I thought it was pretty cool, you know, because...
Until he said,
chance to.
Now you gotta do this for me. And a whole bunch of favors. Right?
Yeah, well, we agreed that we're not going to talk about this.
Okay, I'm sorry. So then you were involved in this, and then you working, of course, on this daily basis with these Hollywood stars, and you come up with this incredible idea. You go, wait a second, I'm working hard, but I'm also working smart, and I'm also the creator of Sleepcast, and I have this great app, and I have these great things that go on, in my life, and one day I'm going to be a great synthesizer god. Legend. And so I need to come up with something great right now that will help our lives get better, right? And you come up with what? With this idea, right? Which is what?
My idea was based on the expectation that what we did for this movie would be needed for other movies as well.
Yeah, because you thought this is Hurricane Heist, man. There's going to be Hurricane Heist 2 and 3. It's going to be a hit. It's going to be like Fast and Furious.
That too, yeah.
Oh, because they had like a door with a panel that you put your hand or something, so they wanted you to make an app that looks like some something on the panel.
That was one of the things that we did for them, was like they used a tablet, I guess, where you put your hand on it and it acts as a scanner that scans your fingerprints to open a door.
So they just wanted some animation there to
so they created the animation, and we just programmed it so that it activates when you put your hand on it. So it looks more realistic.
So what was your app?
So I mean, we never put together a product about this. It was just an idea.
Yeah, but
so everything we did for this movie was custom made for the movie. And,
like you mean the thing is to have some like samples, like animations, or
the animations came from the special effects company. So they designed the animation.
So what did you do, like custom?
What we did for them was the app, so that it's actually interactive. So when you touch it, it activates. It's
right.
That was not the cool part. The cool part was for really the hacking scenes where people were typing and stuff is coming up on the screen. We made it so that whatever they type on the keyboard, the right stuff would come up on the screen.
Right.
So the actors didn't have to learn all the commands.
So you made this huge discovery that you can make a keyboard work in such a way that when you press one button, that the same thing appears on the screen. You made this huge fucking connection that's pretty much in the basis of how we use computers nowadays. But it was back in the day you discovered that on the set of Hurricane Heist.
Yeah, I should have patented that.
So let me wrap this up. So you sorry.
I mean, your idea was to have some tools for movies.
Yeah, and stuff that allows you to remotely control stuff that appears.
Right. So you wanted to kind of whitelist it, and you wanted to make this product that you can apply for any idea that you have for any movie or show that uses that same kind of thing, where someone hacks something or there's some effects on the screen go in, something happens.
That's pretty big. I mean, it's pretty ambitious. It's like creating Photoshop, for example. This sounds like this to me. But,
yeah, but that's I guess maybe because you think from your perspective,
it's
like
pretty big. If you, it's
no,
like a designer for.
They're actually this was not the only movie that something like that was done, and there was one a lot more famous. I think it was called Passengers, with what's her name? Jennifer Lawrence.
Jennifer Lawrence, yeah, I remember that.
They were on a spaceship and they woke up from like.
Yeah, with Chris Pratt, that sucky movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, where Chris Pratt woke her up just to fuck her, right? That was the big surprise at the end. So you see this big spaceship.
They didn't put it exactly the way you put it.
But that's
Well,
like
thanks for spoiling.
no. Okay, so let me reiterate. So this is a movie where Chris Pratt wakes up Jennifer Lawrence, eventually dooming her to die on this spaceship with him. But so at least he can fuck her for a while before she dies. And at the end, they put a tree in the middle of the ship, so that maybe makes it better. Yeah, it was a terrible movie. But anyway, so yeah, but let me maybe, because I remember when we spoke with you about this for the first time, you told me that maybe a better application for this would be shows like CSI and these shows, because, you know, like Steph just said, it could be ambitious if you're thinking about, you know, every movie has a different idea. Every kind of director wants it to look differently. Obviously, if he saw the same animation here, he wouldn't want it there. But the thing is, if you have a series like CSI or something where they use supposedly the same software or the same programs, and every episode they use the computers, you can get away with the same program, or you can, you know, just make a few adjustments and it'll be fine for the whole fucking show, right? And that was the idea, and it was pretty cool because I saw it in action. It was pretty great. You showed me a prototype or some sort, and it was great. I was surprised how cool it was.
I'm surprised that you remember all this.
It was much better than Sleepcast. I gotta tell you, Sleepcast was great, but this was much greater. This was great, and we gotta come up with a name of it, and it's gotta be, I don't know, Hurricane Heist 2, I guess we can call it.
By the way, did you see the movie?
No, I'm sorry. It's, you know, if you were actually in there, I would see it.
Yeah, I saw it.
Is it good?
Yeah, you actually told me about the experience of seeing it, which was a pretty interesting experience.
Yeah, it wasn't. There weren't that many people in the movie theater.
Because you went to the premiere, to the official Bulgarian premiere, right?
Yeah, I think there were about 4 guys
Like
altogether.
just journalists, maybe.
No, it was. I think it was like 4 guys from the crew and
some stuntmen, right?
Stuntmen, yeah. And as soon as they got to their scenes and they saw their scenes, they just got up and left.
Nice.
Oh,
And then
but actually you had something there that's you did, like they left something.
And it was just a little bit, which was also really weird because, you know, I was on set for 2 weeks or something, and it was a great experience.
I mean, the thing is they shoot all kinds of things and they did it and they left some. I mean, maybe they cut a lot of it.
But, you know, when I was there, I got the impression that these scenes are going to be a significant part of the movie. But at the end, they really banked on the special effects of the hurricane. So the interior shots were cut down a lot.
So that's a movie where they try to rob something, a bank or something, and there's a hurricane at the same time. What was it?
Yeah. So there is this trend in Hollywood right now to combine different genres.
Right.
So
like tornado and sharks.
I just remember the Pikachu, whatever, the Pikachu trailer.
Yeah.
So maybe Hate of the Week.
Oh, right. We haven't done Hate of the Week. All right. Yeah. So, sorry.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, so yeah.
We have to do that now?
No, later.
No, we can do it at any point. Whenever we feel like we hate something.
Yeah, so they combined like
it was
a cataclysm movie with a bank heist movie.
Yeah, so a heist with disaster movie.
Yeah, that's genius.
Disaster, yeah.
You know, we can think of other ideas like this.
I think one of the reviews said this was the Sharknado of heists.
Right. That's
But
nice.
what was your...
I wrote that,
What
I
was
remember.
your part that was left? Like, what's in the movie that's yours?
Well, you know, there are a couple of scenes where you can see people
the
hacking and you can see on the computer.
Also, it's not just like one.
But it's not as much as they actually shot. And I understand it, you know, because they shoot probably enough material to do a 3.5-hour film. And
Right.
then they have to cut things out.
Well, we're the only people who never cut things out because we're that good. You know what I mean? Like, we never fucking cut.
This is the first time you're doing a podcast with video, so now...
Trust me, if we cut any of that, it's going to be my dick. We're not going to cut shit. This is going right as it is. I'm happy that we went through the Telerik subject without me pulling hairs out of my ass and swearing and whatever. So this is going alive. This is good, man.
Was that your hate of the week?
No, I mean, no. Listen, let's let's steer clear from that combination of disaster.
No, but I want to talk about the music. I mean,
like,
okay, so you did the app, the music, the movie. It's pretty many things. The thing is, what's up with the music? Like, are you doing some more songs now, or are you making an album?
Yeah, well, right now I don't have enough time, so I'm not doing anything.
So what are you doing now? You're like a freelancer, or, I mean, like your own project thing.
Yeah, I mean, I have a few projects I'm working on.
And this is the cool thing, you know, we haven't even spoken about like what you do for a living, and this is so cool because you know. We live in this fucking society where people are supposed to just focus on one thing and just have a job and just focus on this. And I always hated that idea because it's so limiting. You know, I even thought about it because, you know, recently when I sent it to you, right, my short story. And when I started writing, I started watching these videos of different writers on YouTube talking about like what writing is and what you're supposed to be. And everyone's like, you know, I dreamed my whole life of writing. This was my dream, you know, my whole life. I just dreamed that. And many of them said, you know, if someone comes to me and asks me for advice and they go, how do I know if I should write? They say, well, if you're asking this question, you probably shouldn't, because you're supposed to just breathe every day and just dream about writing all the time so that you have no other choice but to write. Yeah. So I go, listen, this is bullshit. And I'll tell you why. Because people are skeptical. People are always questioning things. It's not just part of our nature, but it's a very important part of our nature because it's in the basis of intelligence to question things. This is what got us where we are. This is how we evolved as a species, by just not settling for something, but going further and asking questions. So even for a writer, think about what a writer does. You know, he uses his book as really as a medium, as a filter between himself and the audience. To the point where if you know a famous author, like, I don't know, Stephen King or something, you go in and buy a Stephen King book without even knowing what the book is about, you're confident that it's going to be good because you know the name is good, right? So it's to the point where even the writing, the filter doesn't matter. You go directly and connect to the writer. But if that writer has no other experiences in his life and really is a shallow kind of person, then what kind of story can he tell? If this guy, his whole life was dreaming of being an author, so he just sat down and wrote ever since he was a kid, he's not going to be the best writer. The best writer is someone who has kind of other experiences and then talks about them, who did, you know, has this kind of process.
No, I think you misinterpreted. I mean, what you said initially was like, if you want to do something, you do it. You don't question like, how do I start doing it or whatever. I mean, I can relate when I was playing guitar more seriously, or programming, like in the first when I was trying to study it, I didn't like think,
yeah,
oh, I should start now because it's 7 o'clock and I have like 3 hours.
No, listen. All I'm saying is that there is.
And then the thing is, you can have other experiences too. You don't have to just.
Yes, yes. Listen, no. I'm not trying to make it. I'm not trying to shit on people who are boring this way, that they just focus on one thing and those end up being one of the most successful people. But I'm not talking about this. I'm talking rather about something else. That if you have a doubt, it's normal. And it's okay to come back and think about it, because otherwise you're really inflexible. And if you really are stuck in something, maybe it's not your thing, and it's good to have that doubt and eventually just drop it and do something else that you're gonna be better at or happier doing. So
yeah, and not have a doubt, right?
Right. So it's good to have doubts, and it's normal, and you should. What I'm saying is, I don't like that a lot of people, or let's say even industries, even like, you know, businesses, try to advertise this idea that you should not have a doubt. Like, this is it. You know, you love this.
No.
And they try to brainwash you into buying this. And
but you said something else, like if you have a doubt, maybe that's not your thing, which is correct, kind of.
Yeah. But no. Okay, so let me give you a reference, because you maybe don't understand where I'm going. So, for example, you know, a lot of businesses, let's say in the corporate world, are based on the idea that, like, let's say, for example, HR, one of the most important features of HR is to build that culture and kind of expectations around the job. So they try to motivate people and go, like, convince you that this is it, right? And it's very ironic, because, you know, you're supposed to, like, go into a job and day one, they interview you and you already should be more passionate than someone who's been there for 10 years. It's impossible. And you're in the process of choosing between 20 jobs, right? So, and you're expected to fake it. What I'm saying is it's better to have that doubt internally. It's normal. Than to try to fake it or to try to be dishonest about it and lie about it and be like, yeah, that's my dream, man. That's all I ever wanted. Because ultimately you suffer from that. So that's what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is it's good to have that doubt because it leads you to then having these cool things like Oggy does music or we do the podcast.
But still, it doesn't mean what you said initially. It's exactly what you said initially. It doesn't. I mean, that's the right, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
Sure.
What I'm saying is there was a time
Because
back
I thought you said that was wrong. What you said initially was wrong.
Do you have any doubts about the podcast?
About the podcast? Of course, man.
You have now.
I have doubts about everything. And this is, you know.
Maybe we should do something else, you know.
Yeah, but
this is not for you.
Maybe we should do it with someone else. Like when it's except of Steph, maybe someone else. No, okay. No, but no, I you know.
You don't have other friends, so.
I don't have other friends. So yeah, who am I fooling? Devi already turned me down.'s like, fuck that podcast. No, but you know, so far it's cool. Actually, this is an interesting topic because I mean, I guess I have much less doubts about my other kind of endeavors that I have about, you know, what I'm supposed to be doing like every day, which is interesting. Maybe it's a kind of
no, the thing is,
maybe I'm fucked in some way mentally.
You wanna write, but you don't write, right?
Yeah. For example, yeah.
Maybe it's not the right time. You know.
Yeah, that's very interesting. Like that's the interesting point. At which point you should force yourself, and at which point you should just, because naturally we're kind of lazy people, right? So at the same time, you know, your natural state is you just sit down and do nothing if you could, right? So what will motivate you if you really don't feel like doing it, right? Even if you know it's right, because you.
I think it's different for everyone.
Okay, let me tell you this. First of all, Oggy, are you still alive? Because I can't see you and I can't hear you.
No, I find this.
Okay, if you want to add something to the conversation.
You can find examples about anything. I mean, I think about this guy who wrote Catch-22.
Right.
I'm not sure he wrote anything else, but that's one of the greatest books.
Yes.
And he tried, I mean, he just poured it out. Like, he wrote it, and it's amazing. It's one of my favorite ones. But then he was like, okay, I'm a writer now.
And it's such a bizarre book, too. It's like so fucking mental.
Because he became famous and he started writing more books. But all the rest are shit. They suck. They have nothing to do. Like, they're really bad. So it's kind of like he was in the moment. He was in the moment and he poured it out.
Yeah, it's weird.
It didn't make him better.
And there's a lot of other examples too. There's, for example, there are people who never made it because they were just at the verge and then they gave up, right? Or there are people who potentially can make it and they never just get up and do it, right? So yeah, it's weird. You know what I did? I told you about this, but I didn't go into detail. This week I started finally doing this self-authoring program that was designed by Jordan Peterson and two other psychologists. So this is Oggy, I don't know if you've heard of this, the self-authoring program.
No, what's that about?
So this is like a website, and you go there and you buy this program, and what you do is you basically sit down and answer a bunch of questions about yourself, and you try to be as thorough as possible and go into as much detail as possible. And some of them are kind of normal, kind of psychological questions that you get in those personality questionnaires, and like traits of openness and agreeableness, and all kinds of other, variables that you answer. But then it gets more and more complicated, and your own answers lead you into those complications. So you get to really think about certain stuff that you don't really think about every day, and you certainly don't sit down and write about every day. So like for example, it starts by saying, okay, so what are your faults? Identify like your biggest personality faults, right? So you go, I don't know, I'm lazy, I'm this, I'm that, or whatever. Then you rank them. Then you say, which one is the biggest fault? Which one is the least important one? Then you go, now explain how this one led to one particular case where you, because of that fault, I don't know, you sucked at, you got some negative effect of that fault. Then you try to imagine how you're going to look in the future if you don't fix this fault, right? So the worst case scenario, apocalyptic future where this is, you being lazy, right? And then think about the opposite. Then think about how you gotta fix it. Then think about what actions you will take. And every one of those you gotta think about for like 5 minutes and write like 2,000 words about it, 2,000 characters about it.
Yeah, Peterson wrote that, I'm sure.
So yeah, it's very, very meticulous. And you write that down and then you go, how are you going to measure it? How are you going to measure the change in it, right? So for example, you say, okay, so in order to avoid this, I need to have a plan, need to execute this and this every single day. Then how are you going to check that you're executing it, right? So that you go, well, once a week, I'm going to check if I did this and that, right? So, and you don't even realize that you have the answers to all these questions, but you never even ask them, right? So because... well, you worry all the time, but never really worry in such a big, zoomed in kind of, dimension. So I wrote that, and I'm like 50% done. It's many, many hours of writing. Like this is, it takes a while to finish all of that. And the idea is you write that, and then you have a plan, right? And then you can stick to it or not, and then you can revisit it, and you can like go back 6 months later and check if this is still valid, because maybe you solved some of the issues, or maybe you discovered there are other issues that are more important. And it's not just faults, it's also like positive traits, it's faults, it's a best, it's like future authoring, past authoring, some other kind of aspects. It's very interesting. And I think it's very important to once in a while sit down and ask yourself these questions.
So before you started that, did you have any doubts?
About what? I have doubts about everything. But about what? About the podcast?
About doing that.
About doing the self-authoring program?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, I'm lazy. I'm probably not going to finish it. And I didn't. Like, I started it, and then I left it for like 2 weeks, and then I came back to it, and I started actually doing it. And then I got hooked up by it. So, yeah.
What's the point of the program?
Well, the point is to think about like certain things that you try to avoid thinking. Your mind works in a weird way. Like sometimes it buries these things, or you're like, oh, I've got so many things, and I'm stressed out, and you don't actually do anything when you're in this state, right? You don't actually sit down and say, okay, wait a second, why am I exactly stressed? What is going on? Let's rank order like all of my top 10 problems at the moment. You don't do this, right? You're never so analytical about it. So how do you expect to get better? This is really like working, if you sit down and do it, because you see it on paper, you see it in front of you. It says like you can send it to people, your results. I actually send it to you, Stefan. You can send it to people, you can print it, you can view it, you can sit down and read about it and be like, okay, this is what I wrote. So did I lie? No, I was honest. Okay, so why not stick to it? So it's pretty cool.
So what did you wrote? What are you sticking to now?
Well, it's just plans for improvement of my life, and everything. And it's like different aspects.
You were perfect.
Well, thank you, but that won't get you a long way. Flattery doesn't work for me. But yeah, I mean, it's always good to improve, man. That's what I think.
We started to talk about something, then
Let's make a quick commercial. Do you ever forget what we start talking about? Well, it happens all the time. What you gotta do is try to get out, breathe some fresh air, close your eyes for a minute, and then get hit by a car. Once you wake up in the hospital, you realize that your problems that you were thinking about were fucking nothing, because now you don't have legs. Then you become a great author because you can move. And then you change people's hearts. So go to google.com and Google something right now. And you'll find something. I don't know. Some ads, they're so weird nowadays. Some ads don't have a product in them. They just ramble randomly.
Especially our ads.
I thought that was like a Google product placement.
Yeah, that was for Google actually, yeah. But it was so well disguised that you didn't know about it. Didn't know it was Google until you said it.
Only Google haven't paid me, god damn it, and we advertise them. They're the only ones that haven't paid me.
They haven't paid you? Who else has paid you?
Everyone else has paid me.
Everyone else has
like
paid
Facebook.
you. Facebook paid you. Microsoft.
You worked for Google.
Dropbox. Microsoft has paid me.
Right.
Skype.
Skype is Microsoft. Yeah. But oh well.
Okay, so Oggy, so wait a second. So we were talking before we got here, before we started arguing with Stefchu, because listen, man, he gets off on arguing with me. He just wants to argue with me no matter what I say.
I haven't argued. What do you mean?
But we were talking with you about like the fact that you're such a Renaissance figure and you do so many different things, and it's so nice to meet people that are like this, and I think it's okay. You don't have to be simple.
It totally sounds like you're talking about someone else.
No, but the thing is, yeah, it was a nice topic. Like, there's so many people like they really stuck in their jobs and
Yeah.
they don't do anything else, and they get tired and they rest on the weekend.
Right, and also, and people always assume, because this is the one of the problems. If you buy into this ideology that you just gotta have one dream and just stick to it, well, if you're not 100% happy with one thing, then you gotta keep quitting. Right? That's not the best solution. Maybe that's the best solution for someone, but for someone else, it could be just add something else, man. Start drawing, start doing this.
I think you're talking about. This is based on a TED talk that I listened to.
That I didn't know.
Lady, I forgot what the title was, but it was about people who are not suitable for focusing on one thing and doing it really well.
Yeah.
And she was saying that it's actually proven that there are a lot of people whose minds are organized that way,
right.
But they get really put down by society, because society's expectation for somebody being really good and productive is that
you gotta stick to one thing.
Somebody does really, really well in one thing.
Yeah.
But not everybody's capable of doing that, and there are a lot of people who are very beneficial to society that do many things.
Yep.
Obviously don't do them perfectly well, but do them well enough.
Well, not even necessarily, because the thing is, sometimes I would argue that for those people, it would actually even be better if they add something else, because then they're overall in a better shape. Mentally, they're healthier, they're happier, so they can be more productive in all of these things, which is a little paradoxical, but it's true. Like, think about it. Not every job is super responsible. For example, you're not the CEO of a company. You might be in a position where you're down, whatever, you're not super productive. But then you add something else which makes you happy, so that little time that you spend at the job, you actually better that. You know what I mean? I was always thinking about, because I think the problem is this, most of that comes from the States. And you've worked in the States, and Stefchu has worked in the States. And Oggy, you were there for how many years? You were in Chicago for how long?
A little over 10 years.
Over 10 years, right. So maybe you can say if I'm right here. But the point is, in the States, because the economy is such, and the industries are very big, everything is big, and like the show business is big, so that you can really focus on something. So if I'm an actor, I just do acting. If I'm doing this, I just do that, right? Super specialized, super particular niche things, because even a niche thing can give you enough money to make you a good living. But
yeah, but you have to be the best. Right.
But in other places in the world, it's not like that. So, for example, if you're an actor in Bulgaria, right, you can just support yourself from the one movie you make a year, right? So you act in the movies, in the theater, you do ads, you do other stuff, you do any kind of commercial that can pay you money. And the same happens for other, like, Stefchu, music people in Bulgaria.
I think
they play in a bunch of bands and all that stuff. Sorry.
Bulgaria is a really bad example.
And I also think this is the case in the States as well with a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's just that there are like very few really successful ones.
But a lot of them are trying.
Yeah, but the rest of them are in the same situation that you would have musicians and actors in Bulgaria. They're doing all kinds of different jobs and they're trying to support themselves.
Right.
Because it is very expensive.
I'm not sure. I mean, if you talk about the biggest one in Bulgaria, the commercial pop stars. I think they do pretty well.
Don't watch TV, but yeah, I mean,
like
I'm sure
but even they do a bunch of stuff. Even they don't do one thing.
You know what? There is something else though. I think the education system in the States is set in such a way that it prepares people to be very narrowly focused.
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. It's like, because I studied in the Technical University of Sofia for 1 year, and over there you can get in with computers. For example, you can study software development, but the first year you will be welding, you will be using a lathe, you'll be using like all kinds of tools.
You'll be hunting for animals, for mammoths, you'll be chasing women.
You study mechanics, you study all kinds of crap that you will never need in software development. But I think that's the case in a lot of places in Europe. It's just the mindset here is that you need to know everything, because they're thinking,
because you never know what you're going to use, right?
Be used in a factory. You should know how that factory works.
Exactly.
The problem is that we're kind of conservative. We're kind of behind on things, because
but who says that the one thing or the other is right?
So they teach
right?
you about the welding. What?
But you're not sure that this is the American model is better. you're not sure that this is the case. And Oggy, what he's saying is that maybe it's not the case because it works for the best top 1%.
I don't think Bulgaria is a good example. I mean, maybe Europe, some other place in Europe, because we have other problems here.
Yeah, but even okay. So when I was growing up, I was listening to this band in Poland. I was a big fan, Elektryczna Gitara. And when I grew up, I realized that all of these guys, they had day jobs. One of them was a surgeon, the main guy, the lead guy. They have like 15 albums, man. These guys were touring around the country. This guy was a surgeon the whole time. I was like, what the fuck, man? This is crazy. And because we're led to believe that, no, you got to focus on, fuck that. This is like the best band, man. I love these guys and they were really good. I doubt that they would be better if this guy quit surgeoning, right? Or whatever, cutting people's brains. So
I don't think it's about the focusing. It's about what you do with your free time, because you can still focus, but a lot of people, they do nothing with their free time.
Yeah.
I mean, they watch TV or they drink. Or
and when we're talking about writers in particular, like all of the writers started as doing something else, because the writing process is such that it just takes so long, and the entry barrier is such a low barrier that like you got to write for years and years and years doing something else on the side before you get anything published. And so it's not like, oh, I want to be a writer. Okay, I sit down and write. I mean, they have jobs and they wake up 2 hours earlier to write, or write in the middle of the night for years until they make it. So that's you know how you do it.
But you know, when you're if you're a writer, you have to have something to write about.
Exactly.
And if you've never done anything else in your life,
that was my point.
You have nothing to write about.
But I mean, everyone has things. No, the thing is that they wake up because they want to do it. They don't think about, okay, I want to be successful. I want to work this. I want to make money. I want to quit my job. They just, that's what it's fun for them. They just do it for fun, and then at some point they get good. I think that's the main point.
Yeah.
Like with your music, like you don't want money. You just do it for fun.
Yeah.
So at some point maybe you will start making money, but that wasn't your intention. Yeah. And I believe this is the right way. I mean.
Well, not really. I mean, because if this is the way, maybe you're not motivated. Like maybe. How far can you get just by having fun? And also the other thing is, if
a lot, come on.
Well, not really. Eventually, listen, if you're lucky, let's say music, for example, is a great example because everyone loves music and you get into it pretty young because kids like music, like ever since you're a kid. Like writing, let's say, requires some like intellectual level before you start, even though there are kids who start writing at 12 or whatever, but most of the writers get into it late. But music is not such a thing. So you can start playing music at a very young age, at an age where you just have fun with everything, right? You watch a movie, it's fun. You play a game, it's fun. Everything is fun, right? So if you're lucky this way, then you start and you keep doing this. But what if you start in your 30s or 40s? Right?
So you can't have fun then, or what?
Well, yeah, you can have fun. I mean, think about it. Like nowadays, we're not really enjoying things like we used to when we were kids. So if someone starts playing the guitar at 12, by the time he's 20, this guy's 8 years fucking playing like crazy and is the fucking best, right? If you start in his 40s, he's got a family, he's got kids, he's got a day job. Even if he really enjoys it, he doesn't even have the time to enjoy it. You know what I mean? So, and if he has...
What are we even talking about?
Are you listening to me? Like if let's say if your point is just have fun, man, and relax. Yeah. Well, it's not as easy as that because you know.
So what you mean you shouldn't have kids because?
No, like, I'm saying that just having fun will not get you there if you really want to.
Why not?
Because, like I said, because if you're...
Yeah, but what does kids have to do? It's like what you do in your free time.
They take time from your time, right? So let's say you have a choice. I'm really enjoying this music, but I also love my kids. So I'll go, you know, be with my kids. You know what I mean? You have more choices. Yeah, when you're 12, you don't have kids. So it's just the guitar you're jerking off. So that's
but you still do it for fun. I mean,
of course, but you need to have a certain, like, you remember, you know, Malcolm writing about the 10,000 hours or whatever. Like, there's some studies that show that there's this particular amount of time you got to spend on something.
So we should give up because we don't have any more time? Or?
No, I'm saying that even if it's not fun, or at the point where it's hard to have fun, you should still keep going. That's what I'm saying. You should say, no, if it's not fun, drop it.
Why would kids stop you from having fun? I don't get it.
It's not just kids, man. It's life. It's everything. You're 40. You're tired. You're you know, you have a liver transplant. You're abusing alcohol. You have you're cheating with some girl at work. I'm saying is okay. Listen, man.
So you're saying that my liver hurts and I want to write and it will hurt to write, but I will still.
Okay, let me ask you this because we have this conversation. So I don't know why this is a surprise to you, but let's say. Do you remember how much you enjoyed, let's say, a movie when you were 15 and how much you enjoy a movie now?
Yeah, because I'm more critical of movies now.
Right. So you're more critical of everything when you're 40. You're more critical of your free time.
No, I have fun. I have fun in other ways.
Yeah, but you don't have that fun. Even with the guitar, you said you used to have more fun. You used to play all the time. Now you don't play. So do you hate it now? No, you realize problem. It's still a great thing. You still love it, but you just don't enjoy it as much now. So
yeah, because I'm depressed.
Right.
But I don't think I should force myself. I don't know.
Well, I think it's not an easy thing.
Well,
right?
if I force myself, I don't think it will work well in the end.
I agree with you, but at the same time, you don't have a choice. Otherwise, you have to give up, right?
No, I will just play when I feel like it.
Like once, 3. So yeah, so you'll never make a difference.
Maybe I'll start playing more. Like in 1 week, maybe I'll start playing every day.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I've had such periods where I start again. The thing is, you should have fun, right?
As much as possible, whenever you can, though. Like if you can't, like you say, you can't force it. What do? You either give up or you keep doing it, right? So I'm saying keep doing it. You're saying don't.
No, I'm not exactly saying don't. I'm saying that that's the best way.
Oggy, why don't you play the referee here and come separate the fight and decide what's your opinion about it?
No,
I'm not even sure what's the fight.
Yeah, there is no fight. But what I was thinking about while you guys were
then why am I bleeding?
Is none of us, neither of us, has kids or responsibilities really.
Yeah, maybe that's why we're so critical.
Yeah, what are we kidding about 40s? I'm gonna be dead next year. What am I talking about 40s?
We're doing it right, obviously. We have all these hobbies, but we don't have kids really, so we don't know.
So the question is, if we
why are we talking to people about life? What the hell?
If we had families and kids, would we be doing this podcast right now?
I would be doing it by myself, you fucking bitches. Because you'll be with the kids, you'll be doing braids, whatever, you'll be changing diapers and stuff. I'll be doing this myself.
No, but the podcast, it takes like, how much is it? 1 hour and a half.
That's why I want to do it more often, you fucking jerk, and you say no.
Yeah, but if you have kids, you won't have time to do it more often.
So that's why I'm saying let's do it now. Let's do it more often now, before we have the kids. So we establish this routine, so then when the kids come home, we say, kid, shut the fuck up, go to sleep. We're doing a podcast right now, kid. Learn that.
We can have them as guests in the podcast too, so they can be part of it.
It's true.
Hey, maybe you should have Toby next time.
Yeah,
Toby.
For sure.
But
so guys, if you're still not certain whether to start a family or not, by now you should probably know for sure. Don't. Kids will ruin you and destroy your dreams. Use protection or weapons. Blunt weapons to the head. Just some head trauma will kill him for sure. And you'll be free again to do whatever the fuck you want and enjoy it as much as possible.
Ironically, I'm staring at a thing that says "baby on board."
Yeah, I should put this in my car.
Baby on board. So no woman with a smart hits your car. All right, but you know,
was it a woman who hit you?
Yeah. I don't think a man could do this ever.
It's
just so stupid.
That's so fucking sexist.
No, it's not sexist. It's facts. No, really, the only person that I've seen that can't realize that when you turn your wheel left and you go back, your car goes left. She couldn't.
So that's why I was saying, why don't you date this girl? Why don't you ask her out? Because you got to use that opportunity. Be like, hey, bitch.
That's not the only reason.
We already established contact. Let's, make it happen. This is the mindset of a single guy. You should use every opportunity to, right, Oggy? This is not just the lyric, not just fucking music, but fucking 3 single dudes sitting together and just fucking talking about the fucking point of life and arguing, constantly arguing about having fun, not having fun. Like, fuck this argument. Obviously we want to have fun. That's why 3 single dudes together. This is how we have fun, man. It's crazy.
Do we have something else to talk about, or are we?
We have so many things to talk about, but let me.
Yeah, like what?
Let me first write a
song. I was thinking.
Yeah, go ahead.
We should talk about Japan because you went there.
Exactly right. I was also gonna ask it, but because Steph True argued with me so hard that I just, my mind started hurting and I couldn't do it. But yeah, we went to Japan, and by the way, by we I mean I first went after you went, because you went. So I just wanted to copy you as much as possible. And this is why I remember all these details about the apps and all these stuff that you told me over the years, because you're such a great guy. I want to emulate your experience in every way possible. And also I gotta...
When did you go?
Yeah, exactly. When did you go?
I went there 3 years ago, I think.
Oggy went to Japan. I followed him there. How much surprise it was in my eyes when he wasn't there anymore. He had come back many years ago. Japan was not the same. It was empty, except the fish and the weird man. Oggy was home, I was in Japan. Life sucks, but just have fun. And don't do anything unless you don't have some fun. Oggy writes these songs so much better than I, 'cause he used computers and I just use analog devices like that guitar.
That was
Beautiful, amazing.
Yeah, all right. So Oggy, how did you decide to go to Japan? What the fuck, man?
It was very spontaneous. It was just a decision that me and a bunch of friends made.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of planning into it. Like somebody said, let's go to Japan and
but it seems like from these friends, because some of them I know, it seems like you enjoyed it more than any one of them did. Is that true or not? True or false?
I'm sure that if you ask every single one of them, they're gonna tell you that they enjoyed it the most.
Yeah, but if I check their cover photos on Facebook, only your cover photo is still of Metro in Tokyo Metro, and none of theirs. Yeah, none of them are using their Japanese photos anymore.
So where did you go there? You just like...
Well, 5 people. We went backpacking a bunch of cities. So Tokyo, Kyoto, Osaka, and a couple of small towns.
Yep, I still remember those.
And
I should go there too, I think.
I love that I want to go back. I mean, it's...
Yeah, me too.
amazing.
Listen, man, out of all the places I've been to, this is the only place I would probably go back to. Like, really loved it so much. It was great. So, absolutely amazing.
So what was your favorite thing about it?
My favorite thing was probably the experience. And my favorite thing was, I don't know, I loved everything. I liked, how clean it was, how much nature you have in such an industrialized country, and how clean it is, and how everything is taken care of, man. Every fucking detail. They have solutions for problems we haven't even recognized yet. You know what I mean? We have these same problems, but they already have solutions for them. And you go everywhere, you have everything. So this is a thing that surprises me why people are not visiting more Japan is because it's such a great destination. It has everything. It has entertainment. It has culture. It has these temples if you're into religious stuff. It has beautiful nature. It's good all year round. So you can go there any season, and every season is beautiful in its own right. So you can go anything from going to the beach to the mountains and the snowy mountains. And
you know why
anything.
They don't go? I mean, because the things that reaches us and most affects us is the weird shit they do.
Yeah,
like hentai or whatever. So,
but that's not like in your face, Like you don't like if you want to do that, go. You can find stuff, but it's not like you don't feel weird.
No, the thing is that's what I see in my mind when I think about Japan. They're just weirdos.
I think they just don't advertise it much as a tourist destination because they realize how cool it is and they know that if other people go there, they're gonna screw it up. Like
okay, but was it like because in Bulgaria? We always think about money and how expensive it is. I mean, they don't care about the experience that much. So it wasn't that expensive as a destination to visit?
It wasn't.
Well, technically, life is expensive there. But if you want to go as a tourist, you can get by very cheaply.
I mean, probably the most expensive part is to get there with the plane tickets.
Yeah, that's probably it. And they even thought of a solution to their train tickets because the train tickets are very expensive, but they allow you to travel all over the place very quickly.
Yeah.
So they offer special tickets just for tourists that are much cheaper than the ones you can buy over there.
So you just have to be a non-citizen, or
No, you can only buy it outside of Japan. So basically, the idea is you buy it in your own country before you travel.
what? Huh, that's pretty smart.
Yeah.
It's
Don't
pretty
they,
awesome.
Like make protests like it's like discriminatory of them, or I don't know, probably.
Yeah, they don't care about stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
probably.
They really enjoy it when they see tourists, and a lot of them told us how happy they are to see us.
Yeah.
They see that as a form of respect.
And on Tinder, they're really
Yeah, it's
happy
all about
too.
respect there.
But the thing is, you know what I was thinking
This
is
book I'm reading.
is that especially that aspect that it's, you know, because it's a big place and there's a lot of people there. In my experience, it was not overwhelmed by tourists. Even if you go to a really touristy place, there's not that many tourists there. So it's like most of the people are local people who went there because it's a popular place, right? So for me, that was a great experience because I could kind of get immersed in that culture without like feeling like an outsider. Because you don't have that experience in many other places because it's just tourists, and you go anywhere, like it's just fucking, like it's hard to find a local person. And there it's mostly local people. So that was cool. It was amazing.
And it's also with Tokyo, I think, is the city with the highest density of like the population.
I felt pretty dense
when you
there.
walk around, it just doesn't feel that way. It's not like the streets are overcrowded with people. It just feels
So like it's not like China, for example. I don't know, because what I've seen, for example, in China,
I haven't been to China.
it's really like the sidewalks are full of people. Like they're just
No, I didn't see that in Tokyo.
I mean, there were sidewalks full of people, and you know those crossings are a lot of people there and all that. But no, I mean, it's so well organized and the transport and everything that you don't feel it. Yeah, because like think about it. In Sofia, you would feel it when you're stuck in traffic and you see all the cars and everything, or it's on a Friday.
Subway,
people,
like during
So they just, because the system is better, because there's it's not so it's planned and executed better.
Ridiculous.
I also like I just love just how much attention to detail they have for everything, like cleaning stuff. And like I remember going into all these temples and just like admiring, because the garden, this is what I love, because I'm, my background as a Catholic person, I'm used to like a temple is you go and you just closed behind these walls and these big buildings with tiny windows, and you just in this rock, and you're sitting there and you watch some images of hell and people burning, and you just pray there. The building itself, well, it's part of the temple, but it's not the temple. Like the whole temple is the whole thing, like the park, the Zen garden, the rocks, everything, this tree, that flower, it's all part of the temple. So the whole complex is a praying sacred ground, right? So the building itself is like a small part of it, or the pagoda or something, there's like a small building there, but it's just for some part of the rituals. Most of it, you will see monks just hanging around outside and walking and sitting and just observing something and looking at, I don't know, some butterflies landing on a flower or something. And that was beautiful. And so I would walk around and I see all this moss on the ground. And I go, wow, this moss. I mean, I get it that it's kind of, the climate, whatever, it's wet, but this is too much moss. Like how did they give so much moss? And then I saw, because at one of the temples I went really early in the morning, I saw this lady was just like picking up pieces of grass from like the moss. So she was cleaning the moss from grass, because otherwise the grass would overgrow it and there would be no moss. So they even took care of that like clean up the grass from the moss so there's just more moss. Like, who'd have thought about that?
But isn't grass nice too?
Grass is nice, and there are some places with grass, and there are some places with moss. And moss is
just
great.
Prefer moss.
But moss is just the best.
Maybe we prefer grass. Maybe we do the opposite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, guys, what we're going to talk about now. First of all, Oggy, how do you feel now? After being a part of this experience, after being part of this history of the show and the legacy, you must feel great, and you must feel like if there's something missing, you probably tell us right now.
Yeah, I feel accomplished.
Right.
I think my life is complete now.
Yes.
Yeah, next time we will talk about the podcast experience.
Yeah.
The podcast.
I think next time we will invite you also just to talk about this time.
Yeah. So, you know what? Next time, maybe we should do it that way. Next time you invite me to go to Malta. And
oh yeah, it's on the other side. Yeah.
Let's do this. we're gonna make a GoFundMe campaign and gonna get some money for you to come here, and it's gonna be great.
Oh yeah, all our fans can donate.
By the way, guys, if you're fans out there and you're reading this and you're writing the comments and stuff, by the way, we need to address some comments because someone wrote in the comments like,
oh yeah, someone.
you guys are not reading comments, some shit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if you can pull up the comments so you can read them. But in the meantime, I can say, guys, if you have any products you want to advertise on the show, just send them over, right? Right in the comments, and we're going to start advertising. Don't worry about the money. You'll pay us later. But, you know, we can advertise anything. For example, even if it's something like feet cancer. Listen, man, feet are part of your body. They can get cancer too. So how about you cut them feet off and you ride around in devices, in cars that don't use your feet. You fucking stupid. You had cancer, you gotta cut them off. Ride some sort of a car with no feet. Always think about the future. And if you have to push the brake, God bless you. I don't know. What am I doing? It's just an example, guys. Probably your products are better than this with a feet cancer product. So just write them in the comments. Stefcho, do you have the comments?
Yeah. You want me to read it?
Yes. Yes, please.
So, Ibo Grant, whatever. Is this someone of us? Is this your account? We have a real fan or what? So, who is your favorite comedians? Who is your favorite comedians?
Who is your favorite comedians? Let's first ask Oggy about it. Oggy, who's your favorite comedians?
You, of course.
Of course.
What kind of a question is that?
Huh.
That is the right answer, of course. And by the way, I gotta say, Oggy, you're the best because all these years you've been coming to my shows, even though you didn't have to, and you were even paying tickets, which I still have to pay you back for that. And you were coming to all these shows, and I'm like really, because there was a time when I was so preposterous and so stupid that I was thinking, you know what, I'm not going to advertise when I'm doing a show so that as many new people come as possible so I can test myself and see if I'm really funny, because if I invite friends, they're going to laugh always. And you were there nevertheless, like you were always there, and it was so nice. Like there are a lot of videos that I was Devi was shooting before that I can always hear your laughter, like because you're somewhere like close to the camera and stuff. Like, yeah, thanks, man. Thanks for coming and for all these years and believing in me. And of course, you probably see that this is really meaningful. And if there was ever a better moment for a testimonial from a fan, that's the moment now. So go ahead, I'm gonna play some music on the background, and you can now record your testimonial. All right? Are you ready for this? Let's go.
So now I have to do a commercial.
Right, for me, yeah.
Now? Yeah. So everybody, if you like comedy, you should just go to Boggy's shows. Of course, he's not doing any shows anymore. But maybe, you know, you can all get together and start an Indiegogo campaign and gather some cash and try to pay him so that he does a stand-up show with the Soft Boys, because you know, without the Soft Boys it's just not the same, and you'll be just blown away by the level of comedy. It's amazing. It's just amazing.
Thanks, man. This was the nicest thing ever, and I'm gonna replay it many times in my dreams. So Stefcho, there was another comment there. Oh no, wait a second. Now it's your turn, Stefcho. Who is your favorite comedian?
I don't know. I mean, I don't have favorite things. I like things. I like you. I like.
Thanks, man.
Who else I like? I mean, I'm not that much into stand-up comedy actually.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure if he asks about stand-up comedians.
No.
Or just comedians.
No.
But the question was for Bogey, right?
For me?
It's for
okay. So for me, the answer is I was always. Yeah, I was always the biggest fan of Robin Williams. I loved him. I don't know. Don Rickles was amazing. Dave Chappelle. You know.
What was this young guy that plays piano and everything? What was the?
Bo Burnham. Yeah, he's a great guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's fucking amazing. And he kind of quit, I think. I mean, at least for now. I mean, it's not like it's super hard to get back to it, but officially he quit. And he directed a movie. He wrote and directed a movie.
Really?
Yeah, he's our age, by the way, but he's been doing it for a while. Like, he started when he was 15 or something.
Yeah, but
he's
why
really
did he
good.
quit?
Well, he's been doing it for so many years that he started, like, if you watch his latest special, it's so amazing, it's so meta, because he talks basically about himself performing. It's a performance about performance. It was a very, very interesting point he was making, that, listen, I'm a performer. This was exactly what we were talking about, like the writers. I'm a performer, so I'm supposed to tell you stuff that relate to you, so you feel better about yourself, but my only experience is performing for you. So it ends up kind of this stupid loop where I feel bad about myself, but my only experience is like being on the stage. And he tried to make fun of that. Like, he made this really cool fake Kanye West song that he's like just angry about. I don't know, the size of tacos, or no, was it like the Pringles in the Pringle can? It was super funny, and it was a very nice, deep message that, you know, a lot of these artists are pretty kind of fake and shallow, because all they have is they have no real experiences. And so this is why he quit, because he said, listen, I've done it so much to the point where I really don't know what, you know, I don't have any perspective anymore. So he started writing for other people, and then he wrote this movie and directed it. It was a pretty good movie. I haven't seen it yet, but I got to check it out. I hear great reviews. Something about high school. I'm not sure what's the name of the movie. But about some girl in high school. And it's supposed to be really
Actually,
good.
I didn't.
So maybe he's gonna come back a few years later.
Probably, for sure he's gonna come
Have some
back. For
experience.
sure he's gonna come back.
Actually, I remembered who is my favorite comedian, but he's gone now.
Who's that?
Filthy Frank, I think, maybe.
Yeah, so
I mean,
he's into rap now, right? He's into his...
No, he's into some music.
Music,
It's
right.
Not exactly rap.
Listen, man, I'm all for that. I'm all for, you know, change stuff. Like, whatever, you're an artist. You gotta experiment. You gotta push yourself, you know?
Yeah.
Good for him.
He's doing whatever is fun for him. He doesn't care about.
Yeah, good
Because
for
everyone
him.
wants
And you know,
to
this
find
is why I
back.
admire people like this. Like, I was thinking today about, you know, I admire people like that. Like, Robin Williams was like that. He was doing stand-up, but he had an Oscar for an act. He was a great actor, right? He was doing a lot of stuff. I don't know, Jamie Foxx is like this. He's won every award possible, like from like Grammy, Oscar, like for music, for acting, for producing, for anything. What was that dude's Jared Leto, right? His schedule is pretty cool. A lot of people are like this. They take turns, right? So he's like, I take a role, I make a movie, right? So he prepares for it. He's like this crazy method guy, and then
Jared Leto is. Because usually they suck. I mean, like Will Smith, his musical career sucks.
but not all of them. Like
Usually, I mean,
Jared is great, right? So, and his movies are great. So he makes a movie.
Jared Leto, yeah, but he's like he's an exception.
Yeah, but yeah, there's something like that. Yeah, I guess, but
Like Johnny Depp, he
yeah.
plays guitar, but like,
the vampire thing, yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, most of them. Yeah, no, there's this whole saying that like every actor wants to be a musician, every musician wants to be an actor.
Yeah.
But I mean, good for the ones that can actually.
Yeah,
do
but there's
both.
some genuine ones. Yeah, that are really.
This interesting thing is Jim Carrey, and he started painting.
Right,
recently.
right.
His stuff is really
He just
good.
went insane in general. I think.
He's always been insane.
Well,
Yeah, no, but you know.
I was thinking about it.
pretending, but now
Yeah,
I think it's real.
listen,
He started living the life.
I don't think that this is the most insane that he's been. I think he's been more
Really?
insane. I'll tell you why. So I'm a big fan ever since I was a kid. I love Jim, and you know I've been following him for a while. But his thing is, so he had some pretty shitty stuff, like with this girlfriend dying and all this stuff. He has this kind of moment of maybe some identity crisis now. Whatever, the painting is cool, everything is cool. He still goes on Jimmy Kimmel once in a while and is great. Now he does this show for Showtime, or I don't know what network, but it's like the old Jim. It's good. But the craziest that he was, that I was super surprised by this, was because this year this documentary on Netflix came out about the making of what was the name? The Man on the Moon. You know, the biopic about Andy Kaufman.
Yeah.
So he made this movie, and it was crazy because the reason that this came out now was because after 20 years, some stuff like can be released. Before that, it was held by the studio or something. And his idea was that he wants to be super method actor about being Andy Kaufman. And Andy was a pretty meta guy, right? So Andy was the first guy who came up with this. You know Andy Kaufman, right? Oggy, you're familiar.
Yeah.
Right.
I've seen the movie, but I don't know.
So you know that this was like the first guy who created a persona on stage that was different than himself. So he would go in and be like, yeah, that's me, but pretend and put an act on that was like people didn't know that he was fucking around. So he was like one of the first pranksters, and he was really classy and really good about it. And on top of that, super talented, super intelligent, and great comedian. So and then he has cancer and dies. So Jim does this autobiographical movie about him. And he plays Andy Kaufman, and there's a bunch of actors who were alive and are playing themselves, basically. And he goes nuts, and he goes like, I'm really Andy, right? And he believes this to the point where there's people like, I think Andy's daughter comes on set, and they're shooting on this day a particular scene where he's supposed to, like, you know, be already with the cancer, and his hair is falling off and everything, and so he's emaciated and all that, and he pretends to be her father, and they go to a room and he talks to, and in the documentary he says she was like she had the experience to see her father like she never did because he died when she was so young. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? This is cruel. Like, to me that was like not just weird, that was like, it was distasteful. Like, why are you pretending to be this dead guy? And, you know, and his daughter was crying and everything, and he says like it was respectful and all that, like he was channeling her father. It was just too much for me. I think that was the craziest that he's been, and that was too much, but whatever. I mean, they're actors, they do weird stuff.
Yeah, I heard about that story as well, and he was so annoying that he was purposely holding up the production of the
yeah, because he was supposedly acting like Andy was acting. For example, in Taxi, there was this hit sitcom where Andy was first got famous for, and they fired him from it because, you know, obviously he wasn't happy, so he started goofing around and all these stupid shit he would do, and so he kind of started doing that on the set of that movie. Yeah, it's bizarre. And the weird part was that Milos Kaufman, the director, was kind of playing along with it. So he thought maybe that would work, maybe that would have a value for the final product. And some people speculate that maybe he did it partly on purpose because he wanted to get that footage from the making of the movie to release it separately like he did now, but he didn't know that the studio would hold it for so many years. So he was hoping that they would release it earlier, he would like release it right away. So maybe he was overacting for the cameras. Either way, like the director was kind of accepting it and playing along with it because he thought maybe that was his process or whatever. And he was a big star at that point. I mean, this was the end of the 90s. That was Jim at his peak. This was, you know, still like everyone was doing whatever he wanted. So, yeah, it's bizarre, man.
So yeah, I mean, he has like 10 more questions. Maybe for the next 10 episodes we can use them.
Oh shit, so there's more. Fuck, who's my favorite comedian?
Yeah.
You know, a rapid fire.
What?
Rapid question round.
Okay, what do you think about Bulgarian comedy scene?
Oh shit. Okay, for next episode.
Okay, that's for an episode. That's for a full episode. No, actually, we can talk. I mean, you can talk about a lot of things.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not kind of Bulgarian. It's kind of human.
Yeah.
Nature. Okay, so next. but yeah, I think we should talk about it.
Yeah, we can talk about. No, listen, I can talk about it short or long. I don't know. I can say it in 5 minutes, or I can talk about it for 5 hours.
Let's say it's shit. But anyway. So
yeah, whatever. Okay.
Do you watch esports? No.
Do I what?
Do you watch esports?
Esports.
Is this a channel?
EA games I watch.
There was a esports channel.
Oh, esports I think is when people are playing games as a competition.
No, I don't know.
Oh, I watched.
Well, listen, when I don't know what it is, then probably I'm not watching it.
Are you watching?
No,
I don't know.
No, but I watched. They have like a World Cup thing.
International.
Yeah, usually in South Korea.
But it's kind of, I don't know. It's whatever. So yeah, and I meant that. Okay, whatever. He's explaining himself. I mean, we already hate him because he meant we try hard to be funny, not.
This is the try hard guy. He keeps going.
Yeah. Anyway, so
no, but this guy.
That's
what was his name?
I don't know. It says Ibo.
Ibo, listen, man. I love you, man. You're great. Keep asking those questions. You gotta teach. Anyway, you gotta set a precedent.
That was my question.
If you ask questions, then other people will ask too. So you be first. Be strong. Stay strong with us, man. Ask questions.
The next one is we should add a camera. Here it is, thanks to you, obviously.
Here it is. It was your idea, man. No other idea. And this is an ad, a quick ad for Ibo. Ebo, listen up, man.
So
Okay, sorry, Stepcho, go ahead, finish, because I was just in the middle of an ad and the fucking lag. Go ahead.
so yes, he says he's from Stara Zagora. I don't know who said that. Like he said, so you're right. I'm from Stara Zagora. I don't know where this comes from.
Okay.
Anyway, so the last question is: do we listen to SoundCloud rap?
SoundCloud rap.
I mean, I don't know what SoundCloud means. Does it mean like bad rap, or what does the SoundCloud? add to
SoundCloud,
the-
it's a platform where you upload music, right?
Yeah, but why not Spotify rap? What's the difference? Is
Yeah,
this like
I don't know.
terrible rap?
That's a
Because
tricky
SoundCloud-
question. That's a
because
tricky
anyone can
question,
upload
Ebo.
to SoundCloud.
You're trying to trick us into some trickery, so we're not going to answer that. We're too smart for that.
I mean, if the question is, do we listen to shitty music?
I don't listen to rap in general. Maybe I'm conservative. This is not good. I know I shouldn't.
I listen to some rap.
Yeah.
I think there's good things there.
I'm
not
very
SoundCloud.
conservative when it
Listen
comes
to
to music.
Spotify.
Like it takes me a while to be grabbed by something, right? So
Yeah.
I just don't want to be grabbed by black
Yes.
people with fake teeth and
Just
Teardrop
say
tattoos.
it took a while for you to get grabbed by Red Hot Chili Peppers, which is like really mainstream and obviously good.
yeah. So
you needed years for this.
yeah,
So you're not anyway.
true.
Anyway, so you can you can start your ad on Evo.
Okay. Okay. Ebo, that's a guy who asks questions. If you wanna ask him something in return, no chance. Don't bother. I mean, who am I talking to? I'm talking to you, Ebo. This is an ad about you that's specifically directed to you. This is what it feels like in 2035 when you're watching any ad. It just says your name and there's like a deep web, deep hacking kind of face morphing thing which looks like you and talks to you with your own voice or your mother's voice and tries to sell you shit. And it already has all your details, so it has your credit cards. You just click here and you buy a bunch of stuff. That's a commercial for a future commercial. All right.
That was actually it made sense.
It made
I
sense.
think this
You know
really
what was it called? Deep was it deep hacking?
native advertising.
No.
What deep hacking?
You know that thing where they morph your face. What was it?
Oh,
Deep fake.
Oh, deep fake, right. I watched this movie on Netflix, such a terrible movie called Cam, but like a webcam, but it was actually an interesting idea. So the idea was this chick was supposed to be a horror movie. This chick has an account on some girl webcam website, and she strips in front of the camera or whatever, and there's a ranking. She wants to go up the ranks and have more fans and get to the top. And then one day she gets hacked out of her account. She can't log in back to the account, and then she goes on the website and she still sees that she's live. So, and she's like, what, are they replaying some old videos? And then she makes another account and writes a comment, and the girl responds, but this is her, right? It's like, what the fuck? And then it turns out that, you know, this is like a fake thing, and then she kind of, you know, tries to figure out how to get her life back together or some shit. But it was...
So some AI stole her identity or what?
Yeah. Like once she had enough footage, it could already generate her. It didn't need
what's
her.
The point of the movie.
The point of the movie is that it was a shitty movie, but it was an interesting idea that maybe we're not far away from.
The horror part.
So the horror part was, you know, like, you know, I don't know. I guess it sucks to be locked out of your account if you're a webcam girl. That sucked.
Yeah, of course.
And that fake girl was making more views than her. And then the fake girl was fucking other fake girls. Because she was like, how is she fucking this girl? And then she reads in the papers that this girl died or something. And she's like, what? Then she's like a bunch of fake AI fucking going around. And that.
I mean, it doesn't make much sense. Like, if you can, like, steal, I mean, some girl, maybe you can generate a new girl. Why would you need a real person? But anyway, whatever.
All right, listen up, guys. Let's make a. I'll go just go get another beer, and Stepcho, you talk to Oggy, and I'll be right back.
Oh goddamn! I want a beer too, but yeah. So what do we want to talk about?
Maybe you should go get a beer and I can talk to myself.
Oh yeah, you can start talking about something. You want a beer?
No, I'm fine. I still have some.
So
Yeah, so you have like a gamer's mouse, but you don't watch esports.
actually, this mouse is from this mouse. It's actually it's very dirty. And the thing is, it's you know where it's from? It's from a vending machine at Roblox when I worked. They had a vending machine. Actually, that's pretty funny. It was full of all kinds of shit like mouse, headphones, keyboards. If you needed something, you just go like push the button and it gives it to you. You don't have to pay or anything. Actually, these headphones are from there also.
These are nice headphones.
Yeah, I mean they're not that expensive, but they're nice. Yeah, everything there was nice, and you just get it for free. I mean, they paid you so well that these things they didn't matter at all. Like, it was convenient.
Nice.
And I'm still with it. It was like how long ago? Like 5 years ago.
All right, guys, I'm back. And you know what? I'm really sorry. I'm morally feel really bad because I lied to you. I didn't go for beer. I went to pee.
So you went for the opposite of beer.
Yeah, I want to applaud myself for the honesty that I went for the
You
opposite.
went for unbeer.
Guys, we just made 2 hours.
Oh,
Do we
actually,
want
I'll
to?
go for a beer?
Do we want to? Yeah, go for beer. And Oggy,
Or I mean, if we're gonna stop talking.
no, go for another beer, and I'm gonna just ask Oggy about some stuff.
He's gonna
Okay,
ask me about
I'm
you.
going. I'm
Go.
leaving now.
Go. Oggy, I want to ask you about something, man. Let me just pull it up because there is some news in the during this week I want to talk about. First of all, you know there was this thing.
Okay, I thought you'll talk about me. I'm going really now.
Yeah, go. Yeah. You know there was a. First of all, yeah. Let's maybe talk about this. Have you heard about this other thing? There's this Sandra Parks, this chick that got this girl, this 13-year-old girl.
He's gone now, so you can talk about him now.
Okay. No, but there was this 13-year-old girl killed by a stray bullet in the States. Sandra Parks was her name. And what was very interesting was that, so she was an anti-gun advocate, and she wrote some essays in school, and she was recognized for that, and she lived in some rough neighborhood, and just by accident, someone was like driving on the street and shot at her house randomly and killed the girl. And I always wanted to bring this up. I just didn't know how, but the news are, every day there's something about someone shooting someone in the States. And I was wondering, what is your opinion about that, considering that you've lived in the States and maybe you have another perspective because of that. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think? Do you have, do you understand that kind of, clinging to the gun laws in the States, or are you more on the side of, let's say, the rest of the world who thinks it's stupid to have, everyone being able to buy guns like that?
Oh, I'm totally against having guns. I think the reasons that the average American gun supporter gives for the gun laws they have are completely wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, they're.
Let's say they're not completely wrong. They're irrelevant, most of them.
Well,
what are they?
Okay.
Self-defense.
Okay,
right?
so
no, it's the Second Amendment. They have it in the Constitution
Yes.
over there that it says that you have to have guns.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't know exactly what the verbiage of it, but it says that American people should be able to defend themselves from an oppressive government.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, so like if the government turns against the people,
They need guns.
they will have guns to form their own militia and protect themselves from the government.
Yeah.
And that's how they would preserve democracy, so to speak.
Yeah.
And this was
Wow.
they decided to do that right after the Civil War, because they did have a civil war, and it made sense back then. Probably it made sense to someone. It totally doesn't make sense anymore, if you ask me, because
The thing is, they're used to it now. It's like taking away something.
but right now it's never going to be a fair fight. If hypothetically this happened, if hypothetically the American government became oppressive and put out soldiers out on the street,
But is it really the reason? I mean, the average person is he really caring about this? Like really?
Yeah.
Well, those
Probably
are,
most of them they don't even know
members
about
of
it.
the NRA and
Yeah.
there are people that just
I think they have the average person has other reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think so, yeah. I mean, this is one. This is very interesting. The other thing, though, is
I
like
don't know.
self-defense is obviously used all the time, which
Yeah.
is very also questionable because I would say, okay, so imagine, let's say I'm a single black mother. I live in a bad neighborhood and I have some kids, and I work 2 jobs to support my family.
Hold on.
Yeah,
give me some time to keep imagining you as a single black mother.
Sure.
You can just say black mother.
So imagine I'm in this situation and I need a weapon to protect my kids because I live in a bad neighborhood, right? Or someone might knock on the door, whatever, break into the house and stuff. But imagine that I have also 2 jobs to support the family, and I'm busy a lot of times. And one day I come back late from work and my kids have been bored, and they just find a weapon and they shoot themselves. So that's how much protection I allowed my family to have, because this happens all the time. By the way, it happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
Like kids finding weapons around the house and shooting themselves, playing with a gun. You know
what? Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was
Because
actually,
that's not their issue now. I mean,
this is not the case. Yeah, but
the school shootings. Not
Yeah.
But a couple of years ago, there was a horrible case where a mother went shopping with her like 2-year-old kid, I think, and she had put the kid in the shopping cart.
Oh shit!
You know, they had these giant shopping carts, and then she also put her purse in the shopping cart, and she had a gun in the purse, and the kid picked up the gun and shot his mother.
Oh,
and killed her.
Fuck, man.
So now this kid is going to grow up to find out that he killed his mother, which is horrible.
Yeah.
It's just horrible.
Yeah.
And it shouldn't happen.
Okay.
Why would you need a gun in a grocery store?
Yeah.
Like where you go and buy
Fuck
milk?
that, man. I
Which
mean,
is
it's
a-
so fucked up. This is so.
But
so
that's kind of an accident because no, this is just a bad accident because I mean you can get a license for a gun. Still.
yes, it is an accident, but check this
they
out.
have a license?
Like you're not.
Yeah, the thing is, it can happen always. It can happen here. I mean, if you get a license.
Well, it won't happen if it's so easy to get the gun. You know what I mean? Like the accident. Well,
No, the odds of happening are lower, but it can still happen.
yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
for
but
sure.
but of course there are other reasons too. So they say okay, but so now we have the Second Amendment. You said like protecting against the government. Then you have self-protection. Then you have sports, recreation, hunting. Right? You have the I don't know. Pride or collecting weapons, all kinds of other stuff, which are all nice ideas and all great. But listen, I would give all of that away. I would give the gun shows and hunting and being able to have fun with a gun or doing it for sport if that would save one school from a school shooting. You know what I
Yeah, the
mean?
thing
So
is,
I don't
they-
understand why they
Actually,
put these
sports-
arguments.
Sports and fun is not a problem because
Yeah,
you can still
yeah.
have that without allowing.
We can
anybody
have that
to
here in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
course.
I mean, you can go to a gun range or whatever.
Right.
And you can shoot
And
all
you can
want.
hunt.
You can
That's
hunt
a different
animals.
license.
It's just when you leave, you give them back the gun,
Yeah.
and I don't see anything wrong with that.
Right. It's bizarre, man. It's bizarre. I don't know. It's part of their culture. I mean, and it's not that difficult. They say, okay, well, implementing the change would be difficult. It's not true. Like they did it in Australia. I think there was a case in the 90s. Some school shooting or something happened. They went there and they took all the guns in like a couple of months. They collected the whole country worth of guns, and that's it. And there was no shooting ever since.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, but
It-
I wonder if this will actually fix the issue because if you're some crazy kid that wants to kill everyone, you can just stab them or something. Maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, but
You can-
yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
here's
come
the
on,
thing.
man.
You
You can't
cannot-
compare
you cannot
an
stab
automatic.
25
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can't. But still, isn't the problem like in why would a kid decide to shoot his?
Yeah. So you're given the other argument, which they all oftentimes do, which is the epidemic is not of guns, but let's say of mental issues and mental illness and people going
No,
nuts.
it increases the issue for sure. It makes it bigger because you can kill more.
Yeah, my
people.
point is, okay, you're gonna have a certain amount of crazy people, no matter what. Or okay, solve that issue, fine. But my point is, would you rather have crazy people with no guns or crazy
Yeah.
people with guns, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, it's
And it's the a perfect example of how wrong this is was that guy in Las Vegas that shot up
At the cowboy festival.
yeah,
Country.
the country concert, and the guy just kept shooting, and they couldn't find out where he was shooting from.
Yeah.
He had so many weapons.
yeah.
This should not happen.
Kill weapons
And-
on every window.
like-
It's fucked up.
And you know, they say they need them for self-protection. At the same time, the United States is probably the country with the best police ever.
Yeah. Well,
Why don't you just trust your police?
Yeah.
You're paying a lot of money for that police. You're paying very high taxes. And they're everywhere. They're well trained. They're armed.
So what do you mean, like trust?
You just don't have a gun, have a phone, and call the police if you need
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. I mean, it's like
Oh, yeah,
the police in Bulgaria.
Yeah, but the
in
thing is, I
comparison
think-
And
is
also
poor.
think about it,
and,
like
and nobody here carries around guns
because
And
I don't
it's-
have the
it's
confidence
insane.
myself. Imagine even if I was in a situation like this, even if I was in a case where I had to protect my own life and I have a gun and someone knocks on the door or something, there's so many possibilities that this could go wrong and I could kill an innocent person, and so little possibilities that really is the only way out. You know what I mean? Like, what if that person is,
What was that?
I don't know, not armed, or they're reaching for their phone or something, or you know what I mean? There are people shooting people for all kinds of reasons.
Yeah,
Once you have the weapon, no one can stop you from shooting.
Yeah, but they have this other thing where if it's on your property, you can shoot him, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
It's fine.
that's
I mean,
true.
that's another issue.
That's a legal thing, but the point is, even if that's the law, I know that I'm safe. Okay, it doesn't matter if I shoot him or not. I'm safe. I'm never going into jail because it's my property. Someone's knocking on my door. But the point is, do I have the moral right to do it? Like, will I go to sleep feeling okay that I just shot a person, even though I wasn't sure what was going to happen? You know, because it's such a terminate solution. You know what I mean? That there's no. No other. I don't know what would have happened if I didn't shoot the guy. You know.
I also think this leads to the bad police shootings that happen in the States as well, because the police officers are afraid that everybody has a gun.
Right.
So they're.
Oh, that's a very interesting point. I never thought about it this way, but it makes sense. Yeah, I mean, if there were not that many guns, maybe there would be much less police violence and brutality. Yeah. Interesting.
I mean, a friend of mine, friend of ours, Peter.
Yeah.
He said something very interesting. There was a small incident here in Bulgaria a few days ago. There was a protest in front of the building of Parliament.
Yeah.
And it was a peaceful protest, but then some guy with a VW Golf showed up and started like spinning around with the car.
Oh yeah, I saw that. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, and then he ran away a couple of blocks down.
People.
I don't think he hit anybody. He didn't hit anybody. But he runs away, and then a couple of blocks down, a police car stops him. And they had this on a security camera, so you can see what happened. So when they stopped him, the police officer came out very slowly, very calm, and he just picked up his like the notepad with all the fines, like the paperwork.
Yeah.
And he just slowly went up to the car and started writing him up. And what Peter said was, that's when I realized how safe it is in Bulgaria.
Yeah.
If this was in the States, they would have probably shot at him already.
Right. It's like, turn off the engine, get out of the car with your hands out.
And they'd be searching him and, all that stuff.
Right.
And that is for a reason, because they always assume that he's carrying a firearm and that he can just start shooting at any moment.
It's fucked up, man. It's fucked up.
What it was on Friday, it was Black Friday, and somebody shot 3 people at a mall, I think.
I mean, listen. So even if it's for money reasons, all the gun lobbyists and the companies that make the guns and everything, I don't get the people who support it who are not in the industry. You know what I mean? Like regular people on the street, you ask and they go, "Yeah, sure, I want to have my gun." You know what I mean? Like, really, did you think about it?
But I mean, they're
thoroughly?
so brainwashed. It's just they have. I mean, the way you think
it's such a sensitive issue for them for no reason. I don't know why it's such a sensitive issue for them. Like, it's an obvious thing. You just fucking ban the guns. You know what I mean? Why is it such a offensive
do you
thing?
remember this case? Remember this case where some woman she went to the wrong apartment. She thought it was hers or something, and she saw some other guy there, and she shot him, killed him.
I never heard about that.
Fuck.
I mean, it all sounds like a scene from a bad comedy or something, but
yeah, but it was real.
It's real.
Well, exactly what I said. Like, there's so many opportunities for things to go wrong that it's just why take the chance, you know?
Yeah, but this thing that I brought up in the beginning with the Second Amendment, that is a very big issue for them. And the way they put it is, they say the government is trying to take away our guns. We're not going to let them, because then they can do whatever they want. And ironically, these people don't understand how oppressive governments work.
Yeah.
Oppressive governments don't go out with guns and say, we're going to shoot you.
But it's weird because
they start censoring the media, they start brainwashing people, through education and all that. And then before you know it, you're already under their oppression without anybody even bringing out a weapon.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because they're real people, I mean, they have families, they have kids, they see this happening around them, like some kid dies, like some others, and they still like, oh, no, I still want guns. I'm fine with other people.
I mean, there was a father of a girl that got killed in one of the school shootings in Florida, and he was a member of the NRA. And after the shooting, he still said that he supports it.
The fuck?
And he said something like, "If the teachers had guns, maybe they would have stopped the shooter."
Oh, man. This is funnier than the Sacha Baron thing. You know, Sacha Baron Cohen did the Who is America? I don't know if you've seen it, Oggy.
Yeah. I saw
So I think it was the first episode was about the gun thing, and then he introduces this Israeli character that he was working on, and he goes something like, so we implemented the kindergartens program in Israel, and he says, my son, God rest his soul, he learned how to shoot, and he says something like, he died doing what I love.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is exactly what you're saying. That I mean, it's ridiculous.
I mean, this Sasha is a good example because the people that he got there. I mean, the average people there, they're like so representative of the mindset there. I don't know.
Yeah. And there was another thing. And there was another thing on the news. Let me put. I mean, there's so many other things on the news. But I checked this out. There was a U.S. guy who died when he was trying to visit this undiscovered tribe near India. And he was trying to apparently convert them, like he was trying to introduce them to Christ, and they shot him with arrows and they killed him. Such a fucking funny story. Look at this. There's an image of these guys fucking butt naked with arrows. The Jarawas live in a 1,000 kilometer forest reserve, but this is not even the So there are a couple of different undiscovered. So the
thing is, he did
Sentinelese, the Sentinelese people are the Bash undiscovered, if I can use this. So I mean, this was such a fucking funny thing. Because
it's just a funny thing.
No, but it's very interesting. No, it's an interesting story because before
it's like the Darwin Awards.
Yeah.
Before that, I used to read about this the Sentinels or whatever this island some time ago. So this is a very interesting case because, like, I mean, how do you nowadays have a tribe that was never contacted by people? It's hard to imagine.
But they do it on purpose. I mean, they do it on purpose. Like they protect them.
Exactly right. So their story is very interesting. So they were first discovered. They moved. I think they're not even from India. They moved there from Africa like 60,000 years ago or something. And they walked there or swam there or whatever. They got to this island and they've lived there since then. And people don't even know how many of them are there. Like between 50 and 150.
I think they're like 40.
Well, between 50 and 150. They're different estimates. But it's a very small group.
Really small.
Yeah. And they've been there for thousands of years. And so back in the 19th century, some fucking dude discovered them. And so what he did was he took a bunch of them and went to all these exhibitions around the world and showing, look at these savages, look at these fucking, people. And then he took them back and he left them because they all got sick from not having an immunity against all the other diseases in the world.
The vaccines.
So this motherfucker brings them back and lets them out, and they probably die or they, I don't know, maybe they infected a bunch of other people. So ever since this tribe is super protective, and ever since whoever's gone there, they've attacked them because they had such a bad experience. So in the 60s or 70s, the Indian government decides, listen, let's protect these people so no one goes there. It's illegal to go there, and they live and they're fine by themselves. And even though this was the case, that tribal tourism is now a thing, and people keep going there, and apparently not just going there, but like this idiot, they want to convert them or something. And now they can't even retrieve his body, I think. Because they left him on some beach, but they can't go get the body because they keep shooting arrows at them. Like, such a joke, man. Yeah, leave the people alone. I mean, fuck.
I mean, that's a nice natural selection. We need more of this.
Yeah.
Like, how stupid can it be? Like, what the fuck was he thinking? Like, he can't speak their language, nothing. He just wanted to convert them some way.
Yeah. Hey guys, so you've never met anyone, so you've probably never met Jesus. Well, let me introduce you to, what the fuck, man?
And why convert them? Why didn't he go convert some Islams or Buddhists or I don't know? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, go fucking,
civilized.
aim high. Go to the Mecca or go to somewhere. Guys, let's bring this up to the fucking hate thing because we're talking about this.
How are there still converters in our age? That's
right. Listen, guys. It's time for Hate of the Week. Okay, so, Oggy, I'm sure you know about this, but we do this Hate of the Week thing, where we talk about something we hate.
Yeah.
So how about you start as a guest first, and you go first, and you tell us what you hate. What do you hate this week or in general? What do you hate?
Well, I hated just a while ago when I was coming over here. I hated a bunch of people that had parked on the sidewalk. So I could,
I mean,
Yeah.
that's how it's
So
done
I
here.
couldn't
There is
use
no
it.
way to park.
This is like a universal thing because
that's not, why you say it like it's an excuse? There's nowhere to park.
Because there isn't. I mean, yeah, you shouldn't have a car. I mean, that's the solution. You shouldn't have a car.
yeah. Oh man, I'm so happy
You
with the
cannot have
bike.
a car.
You know, by the way, I have a bike now in Malta. I didn't buy a car. I had a car and I sold it before I moved here. I'm so happy with the bike, man. I can't tell you. Like,
but
such a great thing.
yeah, also, yeah, I'm also happy with mine. But now it's cold here. You know, in Bulgaria we have this winter.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm sure you remember.
I'm
Winter
sure.
is coming.
I saw
Well,
it.
the
I
thing
mean,
is,
I was
they-
home last
they
week.
also-
I was home. We didn't see each other, but I was in Bulgaria.
Actually, I can hate. I mean, there's a real issue about this, and it's
The winter.
during the week. No, during the week it's a lot of cars, but they go away during the weekend.
Yeah.
So they don't use them for work. They just stand here and they go back to their.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes.
out of Sofia.
And I was sort of like that. Like I didn't use my car for commuting. I just was like a weekend driver.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's the thing is they do these green zones now. They add like and I think my neighborhood is the next one. So maybe this will solve it in a way.
Yeah.
Maybe if they start paying more taxes, they will decide to get rid of their car. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's fucked up.
Okay. What about you, Stefchu? Because are you in on the
Yeah,
same
I
hate?
mentioned it.
Or?
No, I mean I'm used to it. I mean it's not that bad. I learned.
So what's your hate of the week?
It's this freaking Pikachu trailer.
Oh,
Have you
fuck
seen
that.
it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Have you seen it?
Oh, we
It's gonna be-
can we play it actually? We can maybe.
Yeah,
I don't know if
it's
it's legal
on-
to play another video in a video,
No, don't. No, I mean everyone. Our
You,
two
you can
listeners.
put a link to it or something.
or maybe I can just
Thing is,
pull up
it's
an
so-
image of it, so it's probably legal.
Yeah.
What was it
So
like?
it's
Detective
called
Pikachu.
Detective Pikachu. I mean, when I read it, like when it was in production, I was like, "What the fuck is this?" But they have this guy from Deadpool. I don't know what.
Ryan Reynolds,
Yeah.
So I pulled
So
up
he's
something,
voicing
but it's
it.
not even. Okay, so
I mean, it's like it's a big thing. They have this actor there. It's a thing. It's a real movie.
Are you gonna see it?
No. But the trailer is what I mean. It's really like Pikachu is a detective voiced by Ryan Reynolds.
by Ryan Reynolds, yeah. And there's some. It's a live action
And
movie.
it's-
There's some people in
Yeah.
it. And there's of course it's
So it's
very very liberal, and everyone is like another race. So the only white person is probably
No,
Ryan
it's-
Reynolds.
Oh, it's not animated. It's
No, it's a live action.
It
It's
looks
just
like
real
the-
people.
It looks like
Only
the-
Pikachu is
every
animated.
Every movie.
So the Pokemons are animated, but the people are not. Which in a Pokemon
But
movie,
it's-
really, the people are the most important
I
ones.
just wonder how did we get here? I mean, the
I
end
don't
is
know.
near, obviously.
I mean, what I really ask myself all the time is, how are these people settling for that? Like, you're Ryan Reynolds, okay? You got all the fucking money you want in the world. You got all the acclaim, great roles, everything, respect. You're not even that young anymore. Why would you do this fucking piece of shit? You know what I mean? Don't you have a standard? Don't you have some soul left in you?
I mean, actually, I don't really like that guy particularly. I don't think.
I don't like him
Deadpool is
either.
good. I don't
But the
think
point is,
he's
like, when you were younger, you could have done shit like this. Now you do it when you're fucking.
Yeah.
You're setting an example for the next.
What was the guy from Silicon Valley, the really funny one, T.J. Miller?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah, he's in Deadpool. Yeah.
He was in the movie called The Emoji Movie.
Right.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
He was the main character, I think.
Yeah, it was
The main emoji. Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
But he's a cool guy. I've seen him before.
Yeah, and he's done some projects that are obviously not for money. Like he had this,
Yeah.
he's had this weird show. Like it was like a Eric Andre kind of show. He was a monster. Was dressed up in this costume. I don't know if it was an Adult Swim or some other network. It was really bizarre. It was like a spoof of late night shows. It was really good, and obviously he didn't do it for money or anything. So yeah, I mean, I guess they get desperate.
But
They
now
don't
he
have
does it for
anything.
money.
Yeah, I mean the cash must be great. And animation's big,
I
great.
still don't get it. I mean, they obviously there's a lot of money there, so they get the best people, they get the best actors, the best whatever. Why don't they get the best writers and the best ideas? Where are those people?
Maybe
That's the
not
thing. No,
important
it's not like that. I think even the writers and these guys are great, but they're just told what to do. You know what I mean? That's the problem. So The problem with the industry is that you have all this talent, but the only force that can move it is money. And money is being distributed by people who have no talent. So all these business guys who run the studios and everything, they just have calculations. There is this great movie. You got to check it out. I forgot the name of it, but it's a documentary made by Alec Baldwin about the Cannes Film Festival, one of the greatest film festivals in the world, right? It's not that old, like maybe 6, 7 years old, this movie. So he talks about how the Cannes Film Festival works and how it's just a networking event to get investors and movie people together so that, you know, we can distribute. And by the way, there's a lot of money laundering in the movies, apparently. There's all these sheikhs from Dubai and all kinds of Saudi Arabian dudes and all kinds of Russian millionaires who invest in movies. And you don't even know about it, but apparently they meet and they invest. So the point is, they have these very elaborate schemes where they just calculate everything based on money. They go, this name, this person made this much in the last movie and this much in the last 5 movies, so we can predict that this is the exact amount of money that this name will make. So they then add all the names together, and then they, for the story, it's the same thing. Like you were talking about hurricane heist. So they figured out, okay, what are the last couple of movies that were about hurricanes? And they go, okay, there was tornado sharks and other tornado movies and other hurricane movies. Okay, how many movies we had about heists? So we had this and this movie in the last 5 years about heists. Okay, how much money did they pull? Okay, and then they make these complicated calculations to just figure out, based on the words in the title of the movie, how much money they would make. And then they figure out, okay, so we can invest this much, right? And then based on that money, they can figure out, okay, this money will get us this kind of writer and this kind of director. And they come together and then they figure out the rest of the cast or whatever. Usually they figure out the actors first, because those are the stars that are going to attract the money. So like you have an idea and you have at least one big name attached to it, otherwise you're not going to sell it. And yeah, and it's very sad. It's very sad. There's no art into it. There's nothing. So it's all about, like, you make some of that movies, you make some money, and then on the side you do something that's really art. That's the only kind of way out of it.
For me, a very good example of this is the story behind Snakes on a Plane. You guys seen that?
Samuel Jackson.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but yeah, I know it. Yeah, I know about it.
So well,
But it's a good movie. I mean, by the ratings.
no, it's a horrible movie.
Really? Ah.
It's like a lot of people like
Because
it.
it's well rated, I think, by critics.
It's well rated because people,
No, even by critics, not just by.
people watch it as an example of a horrible movie.
Yeah.
I think.
So it's like The Room or something.
It's outrageous because they load, for some reason, they load this big container full of snakes on a passenger
I
airplane.
mean, it has like 69 on Rotten Tomatoes. It's not.
Yeah.
Even audiences actually don't like it. Yeah.
It's-
But critics can.
I mean, if you see it, you'd understand. It's very
Yeah,
good.
Okay.
So there are like 120 snakes that are loaded on this passenger airplane, which is what,
Preposterous.
why did that happen?
All right.
Right, and then they start roaming around the airplane. For some reason, they were supposed to be asleep, but they wake up, and then all hell breaks loose, supposedly. But the story behind it is the guy who wrote it had an awesome script about one snake that somehow sneaked in on the airplane and was silently biting people that would just
What?
die, and it was like
What?
this incredible thriller that, you know, all of a sudden somebody's dead on the
Yeah, it makes sense. Actually, it's
what happened.
interesting idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he brings the script to the movie studios, and they read it, and they're like, "Yeah, you know, it's got some potential, but maybe if there was another snake, because it's not scary enough."
Yeah.
So he goes back and he rewrites it.
But that would be a very nice like plot twist in the end. But whatever.
So he rewrites the film with 2 snakes, and he brings it back to them. and
Two
they
snakes on a
like,
plane.
Well, it's better.
No, keep it for the
It's better,
sequel.
but, you know,
Keep the 2 snakes for the
it's
sequel.
still not there. So he gets really upset about this, and then he wants to say "fuck you" to them, and he writes it in a really stupid way with 120 snakes
Yeah.
or something. And he just drops it over there, and he's like, "Here, it's got 120 snakes," and he thinks that it's never going to get made. And he
Right.
just leaves. And they look at it and like, "Oh, this is great.
This is great. Yeah, this is the shit.
We have to make it."
Man, I mean, there's so many examples of this. Like even recently, I learned about the. I don't know. Did I mention this last time? We were talking about the simulations, the Matrix, right? When they were making that
I
movie.
don't really remember. I have a blank.
Yeah,
about
me
it.
too. But the Matrix, like there were so many things they changed about it. Like, you know, when they made the idea that, you know, the machines are using people for energy. Actually, the idea originally was to use people for processing power. So they wire up your brains, and while we're in the matrix thinking and figuring out shit, we're computing for the machines. So we're a big processor, right? But the studio's like, this is 98. They're like, what processing? What? They're stupid. So they go, this is makes no sense. Make it something simpler,
No, it
something
really
easy.
doesn't even know.
It makes more sense than energy to me.
Computers are like million times.
Makes more sense than energy. Anyway, so they go, well, just like energy,
Ener-
like heat,
and
like
what
battery.
energy?
So
What?
no, I mean, what makes more sense in your opinion? To
No, I mean because computers are much better in calculating right now than human brain.
yeah.
Millions.
But I don't know. Maybe 98, like 9 billion people brains connected together for computing. You know, maybe better than use them for their body heat. Makes no sense.
Oh, okay. I get it. Okay.
You know. So anyhow, but yeah, I mean, there's a lot of examples of this, and this is pretty fucked up. So maybe okay. So what if my hate? I don't know, man. I didn't think about a hate of the week, but when you brought the Pikachu thing, I immediately thought about the Aquaman posters. This is such a fucking joke.
And they always bet in a different way.
Have you checked out the Aquaman posters? There's so many iterations. Okay, I'm pulling this up. So first, there was a big hate when they came up with this poster. There was the first Aquaman poster was a Aquaman crouching like on a fucking stone thing. And if you, I don't know if I can zoom this in, but first of all, his hair is completely dry. Okay, whoever made this, like he's in the water, obviously. His hair is like dry and there's some wind and there's this fucking light.
Well, but maybe he's like a duck, you know, ducks, they don't get
Right.
it.
And then the other thing is the fish, all the sharks in the poster, people actually saw them in some stock images. So someone didn't even, like they pull out these random sharks from stock images. So everyone was fucking shitting on this poster. So then they figure out, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to do another series of posters. So they come up with a second iteration. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to find it. Oh shit, this was like a couple of weeks ago. God damn it.
The golden suit.
Yeah, the golden suit is the last one, which is actually the best one. But Aquaman, wait a second.
I mean, yeah, when you compare it to all this shit, anyway.
Well, the second one was a better version because they saw, oh, okay, we're gonna fix the hair now because you gave us this idea, and there was like this ridiculous one with his hair flowing in the water, like in such a fucking gay way. Yeah, I got this one. Wait a second. Okay, the guys are gonna, whoever's watching this on YouTube, gonna see this. So look at this fucking gay hair. This is ridiculous. So it made no sense, and finally, they figured out, okay. Well, the only way we can do a poster of Aquaman is if he's outside of the water. So they made finally the best poster was, like for example, some of it's like fan-made posters. It's hard to pick the right one. But okay, so there's okay, so for example, this one. He's outside of the water. His hair is wet from the water. There's some water splashing. Finally, they figured it out after like 20 attempts. So that's pretty fucked up.
But if he's Aquaman, can he survive outside of water?
Yeah, apparently he's been outside his whole life. So he just goes to swim for once a week or something.
Have you seen the last trailer?
The last one, I'm not sure if I saw it. Yeah, maybe I saw it. Yeah, it's pretty.
The final.
Listen, I mean,
because I think it's beautiful. I mean,
yes,
it looks beautiful.
The trailer looks good. That's at least. I mean,
but the dialogues. No, I mean it looks good if you don't have sound. Like the dialogues and the story and everything is just so terrible.
Yeah, but man, I mean, at least they can figure out trailer. And by the way, companies that do trailers are separate companies. There's some production companies that just do trailers. So you send them a bunch of footage and they sit down and do a trailer. And this is why
they're all the same.
Yeah, this is by the way why they all the same.
I think they also use different directors.
Yeah.
So like they never let the director of a movie do a trailer for his own movie.
Yeah, fucking great. Yeah. So that's why they put the best scenes in.
But the thing is, okay, still, but it's still weird to me. Like, okay, they get this will make money, blah, 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 they get the calculations, and they still can get a guy to write a good dialogue. I mean,
yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know if there's like a team of fucking wild feminists like rewriting every line. I don't know.
For a good writer, how much money will he take? They already paid millions for the actors. They can probably pay.
I think it's
they're worried that if the dialogue is good, you're not gonna pay enough attention to the effects. And it's all about the effects.
I think it's that, and also
the thing is, it's not only bad. it's not only not good, it's really really bad. That's my point.
I think it's
I think I can write a bit.
it's like it's a matter of rewrites. I think it's because it's so many times they rewrite it and they cut it and they put it together and they call it back together to reshoot something again and all that. That
Well,
at the end of it, you know, the good dialogue, whatever it was at the beginning, is gone. There's nothing left
Well,
of
but
it.
for example, I mean, the dialogue is just an idea. You think about it and it's there, but the effects and everything else, it's so much more effort.
Yeah, it's a lot of work, man.
I mean, and still the effects are great, but
But that's what
the easier
sells.
part sucks.
That's what sells tickets these days.
Yeah.
It's all about the effects. And it's funny. I
I
saw.
mean, they don't sell my ticket.
What was there was a movie about an organism that was brought from Mars to the International Space Station.
Again with Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah.
And Jake Gyllenhaal. Yeah, I forgot the name of it. Yeah, but it was an interesting movie. Yeah. What about it?
It started great. It started great.
And I loved it when they killed Ryan. Oh my god, it was such a great fucking.
Oh, thanks again for the spoiler.
Yes.
It was very promising, but like halfway through the movie, you can totally
It's
see,
changed.
No, that you can see that they ran out of money
Ah.
and everything got a lot cheaper.
Oh.
Oh
And the
shit.
effects were cheaper, and the story was horrible all of a sudden.
Oh.
It's like what happened?
Oh
I was
yeah,
like
it gets
watching
it gets much worse, and the end of it is bizarre. Like it was good, and then it could have, you know, it just was shit by the end of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But they have all of these issues lately. Like, I mean, the Fantastic Four, they like changed the director last minute, so he made the final part, the ending of the movie, and it was like complete. I mean, I haven't seen it because I saw it sucks.
Man, listen, we gotta do some movies together, man. Listen, we got Oggy here with the great special effects experience and making animations and hacking experience. So we're gonna make a movie about hacking that's gonna combine some disaster like a volcano, and at the same time something really cool like
Pokemons, of course. Pokemons.
Pokemons. Yes. So let's say we're going chasing
So,
Pokemons
a
and
romantic comedy with Pokemon.
But
Vesuvius.
not Pikachu because he's taken. We can take Charizard.
What's the English way of saying Vesuvius? Is it the mountain, the volcano in Naples? Vesuvius?
I think it's Mount Vesuvius.
Vesuvius. Okay. So we go to collect some Pokemons on Mount Vesuvius, and it explodes, and we gotta hack it to stop it from exploding. It turns out that there's like a mechanism there, so it's actually not a volcano, but like a computer exhaust or some shit, and we can hack it, and and there Oggy comes in with the animations, and that's it. I think it's gonna be a great movie, and there's gonna be about 120 Pokemons, and they're all gonna bite you and stuff.
Vesuvius.
That's what Google thinks.
What? I didn't understand that.
Come on, fuck. What is? Okay.
Vesuvius.
The Vesuvius?
no.
Ah, Vesuvius. What?
I don't know. Whatever.
Anyway. Well, listen, guys, we've been going on for a while, and this is pretty cool. And I don't want to end it because I have to get back to my boring life, and I'm pretty sad when I think about it, because this is so great. I don't want it to end.
But you'll have to edit it next 6 hours.
I will.
You know, with the video, it's hard. It's
Maybe you
harder.
could cut it up into episodes because it's so long.
Yeah. By the way, I've been getting this all the time, and I want to address it. Guys, all the time you're talking to me stuff like, yeah, but it's too, yeah, it's good, but how about if you made it 3 minutes long? Listen, guys, just go to podcast. It's a long form thing. It's based on radio shows that run 4 or 5 hours every day. So, you don't like it? I'm sorry. What do you want from me? What the fuck do you want from me? You can go on my old channel. You can see videos from 30 seconds to 1 hour long. Everything. You got everything. I gave everything to you. So now I'm doing this, so fucking respect it. And it's easy. You know what's hard? It's hard to watch a 5-minute video for 3 hours. It's really hard. YouTube doesn't have a replay button. It's hard. You can't loop it. You gotta go to uloop.com or some shit like that. Urepeat.com or some other shit. And then paste the remainder of the video. So how about you fucking shut up and watch a long video, or just stop after 5 minutes? I don't give a fuck. But just respect us and love us, because we love you. Alright? That was pretty cool. So yeah.
So I wonder about these guys. I mean, when they went to Lord of the Rings, they were like, it's cool, but it should have been 3 minutes.
Yeah, that's cool, but
That's
let's...
me. I hated that.
I wasted 9 hours of my life. Fuck.
No, I mean, I don't know. It's
I could have.
I think there's
watched something
something
else,
interesting
some other-
about like this long form thing, because some things happen only when you really relax after a while. Like now we're talking about stuff that if we stopped, we wouldn't talk about. You know?
Yeah. So maybe you should cut off the beginning.
Yeah, I should cut off the first 2 hours. And
I
then,
think all of our episodes, they get better. I mean, at first it starts really, really bad.
yeah.
Then it gets better.
And yeah.
No one reaches.
And you know, and people also listen to podcasts differently. So if you're not used to it, usually, you know, you get comments like this from people who are not listening to podcasts in general. But the way I listen to it and the way other people listen to it, like you listen to it on the background. You can play a podcast and, you know, clean around the house or iron or do something.
That's how I do it.
You know, that's how you do it for a longer time. Like it's not about sitting and watching for 3 hours, right? You can watch a little bit and then watch a little later, and that's how you do it. All right, guys. So what do we have? Like, let's summarize and let's make a moral justification for what we did. We invited Oggy here. Oggy's a great guy.
May I say?
Yes.
It was such a big mistake to do it on the first episode that you're using cameras on.
I completely disagree.
Don't worry.
You should have found
get...
somebody like a hot girl from work or something.
Listen, I tried with Ryan Gosling. He said no. I'm doing this Pikachu thing. Sorry. So
But you'll still get a picture. Don't worry.
Ryan Reynolds, actually. Anyway, so Ryan Gosling is cool. I don't want to say anything bad about him because he's going to be...
Yeah, let's get a girl maybe sometime.
Let's get a girl, man. And let's get a room and put her in there and put a mic on her. And yeah, let's make a video about it.
Why don't you, next time you can pick up a girl on the ring road?
The what road?
The Okolvrasuk.
I was thinking...
It's a way world girl.
Oh.
That's a nice...
Pick one of those and you can pay her to participate in the podcast.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Right.
Well, we can talk about what happened.
Man, this would be great. This is like a Howard Stern thing.
Know...
Just pay a hooker.
Yeah, but she wouldn't know English. I think.
It doesn't matter. It's the language of love. She'll figure it out. She'll use her body language. We have cameras now. All right, so
you can add subtitles afterwards.
we will for sure. We will hire someone to just subtitle everything for hours and hours.
Actually, YouTube has it automatically now. I mean, yeah.
It probably works great.
Translation.
It's what
best do really good. No, it's subtitles. It's voice to text. It's not translating. But
if you go and take away
just come on, man. Just switch it on one of your.
No, I've checked it. It works. No, I haven't checked it on my stuff, but yeah, I will. Okay, well, listen, man. To summarize, Oggy, let's play a song because it helps me summarize things. I run out of songs, man. I gotta fucking get some new songs here. But listen, Oggy, man, you're a great guy. You're a synth guy. You're a developer guy. You're a movie guy. You're a guy's guy. You're a great guy. You're a fan. You like comedy, and you like Boggy out of all the comics. You're pretty cool. Thanks, man. Thanks for coming. Thanks for coming, and let's hear it up for Oggy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming, man. And listen, if we did something wrong, forgive us. We're still learning. You know, we're still getting better and better every day. So what can I say? Just don't hate us. Just don't go around to your friends, your rich and famous friends from the movie industry, and tell them how bad this was. Tell them how great it was. Tell them about the few things that we did right. Like about that one time when we laughed together about something, like people dying with weapons in the States, or something heartless like this. Tell them about that. Tell them how we wholeheartedly laughed at their expense and their tragedies. And then maybe the world would be a better place. Right? Okay. Well.
Yeah, that was very deep.
Stefcho, do you have something to add?
Cheers to that.
Cheers to that.
Deep, but I don't know where it was digging.
Stefcho, anything to add from your side?
I mean, I hope we don't have any technical issues again.
I hope that you recorded this. I hope that there was
I also hope. It'll be like almost 3 hours. Fuck.
Yeah, man. This was great.
I mean, in the worst case, it will be a learning experience.
Exactly. And we'll do it all over again right now.
As Stoichkov said, sometimes lose, sometimes learn.
Did he say that? Okay.
On it. Oh no, he said sometimes win.
Yeah,
Sometimes
you know,
like,
if
Lun.
this
Sometimes
didn't get
Lun
recorded-
was.
no, learn.
Lun.
They
Lun. Lun.
Yeah.
It was an unexisting word. He said.
He couldn't pronounce learn.
No, he didn't
No,
even
he's
mean
trying to
learn.
say win.
He said wanted to say
He's trying to say win.
No. He said sometimes.
no. He wanted to say lose. He said sometimes win, sometimes
No.
lose, but instead he said sometimes win,
No.
sometimes lun.
No, but my theory is he wanted to say sometimes win, sometimes learn.
That makes no sense. It's
Of course it does.
Well,
think about it.
sometimes win, sometimes lose.
Just think about it.
Sometimes win, sometimes lose.
No,
That's
you
the
learn.
first time I
You
hear
learn.
that-
You learn
that
from
point
you.
of view.
You learn from losing. I know it's the original view, and I think he was misunderstood and everyone laughed.
Maybe, but of course it's much more realistic to agree that he was
No,
trying to say
Of
lose,
course.
and
But
he
why
said
would he say
loon.
learn? Yeah, learn. What's so hard to understand? Learn. Lose. It has nothing to do with loon.
You should make a segment.
Right?
You should write a book about theories that no one will buy, but you have in your mind, and they make sense for you.
I'll have some other original jokes, but I'll,
Yeah, go ahead. Just say one. Just say one. Just one.
no. I don't have that many, so
You have less than one.
I will have another one for like this. So.
All right, think about it. Think about it. Next time you'll tell us. Oggy, thank you again, man. You're the greatest.
Yeah, and if this didn't get recorded for some reason, I'll come back and we'll do it exactly the same.
Let's do it exactly
Oh,
the same.
yeah.
Actually, as a matter of fact, don't leave because we want to make sure that it was recorded. And once
Wait.
we make sure, then we can legally let you off. But until
You
then,
can voice over him
yeah.
and voice over me too.
I've done that too.
Yeah.
In the past, I've tried to voice over myself. One time, I was fucking shooting this video in Vitusha in the mountain. There was so much fucking wind, and I was with this lapel mic, and for some reason, it was like this. And I was like, "Fuck, man!" And then I just voiced over myself, and it sounded crazy. It was like retarded. I couldn't even voice over myself. This was how bad it was. So anyway, so on this note, and when I say note, I mean this. Let's end it, and let's hope for the best for the future. Oggy, listen, man. Write some new songs because our fans are gonna go now to the description, click on the link, and go to your channel. Listen to Alpha One and listen to the other song. What was the name of the other song?
Was this an A? Did you hit an A? Oh, fuck.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
You changed it now. Anyway,
It was an A.
Oh, nice.
Okay, so what was the name of the other song?
Esprit.
Esprit, yeah, okay, right. I forgot about. Okay, so guys, go and listen to Alpha One, listen to Esprit, and listen to get some aspirin, and then listen to Esprit, and then
Is this inspired by the
and then
clothing
read
line?
some books by Astrid Lindgren, and
Yeah.
listen to it.
Yeah, that would be better actually to read some books instead of listening to that crap.
Man, it's so good, and keep doing that because it's great. And yeah,
All right, you keep going with the podcast. You know.
yeah, thanks, man.
It's good.
And keep not unsubscribing because it's important. We want to build the audience by just adding on top of what we have already.
Are we building it? It's the 6th episode. Are there?
It's being built. It's like we're still laying the foundation and waiting.
I think we started with more. Now we have.
I think we're just waiting for it because it's like, you know, when you build in a well, it's like you pour cement down the well and you pour and you pour and you pour, and it just takes time.
Yeah, and we're poor. Yeah.
We gotta fill up this well first before we can lift up above the ground, you know. So, all right, guys. Well, thank you very much, and for our listeners and viewers, please subscribe, and we'll catch you later next week with another great episode. All right, and now you can listen to Alpha One on the way out. Okay, it's playing right now for you guys. Thanks, Oggy. Thanks, Steph Joe.